welcome to Wiesbaden in Germany, where the field of riders is looking exceptional. We've got the biggest and baddest names in eventing. There's Chris Burton, reigning Event Rider Masters Series champion.
I know what it takes to win. I'm here to defend my title.
Tim Price, the newly crowned world #1 no less.
That Chris Burton, he might be last year's series winner, but I'm the current world #1. And me and Wesco here, we mean business.
And Ingrid Klimke, who's back here to defend her 2018 Wiesbaden title.
Hang on a minute. I won here 4 times and I was on this podium last year. So bring it on.
With such an exceptional lineup, who will take this year's title? This is Eventing Reinvented. This is the Event Rider Masters.
As the Event Rider Masters Series heads into Europe for the first time this season on the banks of the River Rhine, Brübisch Palace is the iconic setting for Leg 2 in the series. The Schlosspark pays host to all 3 phases of competition, and this infrastructure in place is fitting of the very best in the sport. The dressage takes place with the palace as a backdrop, the show jumping in the incredible grass stadium, and the cross country winds its way through the huge crowds that will enjoy the spectacle that is the extreme sport of eventing. The home crowd, well, they would dearly love to see a German winner once again, but there is a strong challenge from the rest of the world. Who will be crowned Wiesbaden Event Rider Masters champion here in Wiesbaden in 2019? Well, stay tuned and you will find out. We will be bringing you all of the action over the next couple of days. Today, it is all about the dressage and the show jumping, and then we turn our attentions to Rüdiger Schwartz's cross-country track tomorrow. You won't miss any of the action, so stay tuned. And with me in the studio for the dressage, none other than List 1 dressage judge Mark Ruddock. Mark, we can't wait to hear your thoughts. But your first visit to Wiesbaden, it's really quite extraordinary, isn't it?
Well, it's the most amazing thing when you're driving through a massive town, driving along, you can't think, there's no horse trail around here, and suddenly you get to this amazing palace, and then lo and behold, in this park, and there's people cycling. Lots
of children running around.
Lots of children. You just can't believe it can be like how it can be here.
And in terms of the infrastructure, because it really is in a public park, and it just pops up the week before the event, and it's remarkable.
Well, and like the whole buzz of the whole town, and there's all those dressage horses leaping around, there's all these show jumpers. I've seen some sort of display thing for a big show this evening. It's not just about the event, it's like a massive thing for the town.
And all of that really does build the atmosphere, the pressure to all of the competitors coming here that might not have seen that kind of thing before.
Well, I wouldn't think so. And like when we were here yesterday and they were doing warm-up and they were doing arena familiarisation with the buggies, doing the arena round, event horses are quite amazing. But I think do a dressage test with all these children and all this hullabaloo, shall we say, it'll be interesting.
So in terms of what we're looking for in the dressage, we're going to come on to that a little bit later on, but the atmosphere you think is going to be tough for them to take?
Totally. I think it's a one-off thing that you can't actually, and it's the proximity of the crowd that literally they could lean in and touch them virtually while they're doing a test. And I don't think you can rehearse for this. So yeah.
Watch this space.
Exactly.
Watch this space. We'll wait and see for the dressage very shortly. But of course, the Event Rider Masters is a series. 6 legs, 5 different countries, and it all kicked off at Chatsworth. We'll come on to Chatsworth in a moment. But there's a number of riders looking to take Chris Burton's series crown from him.
As the world's best riders and their horses ready themselves for a brand new season, the competition for the most coveted prize in eventing will be tougher than ever. Chris Burton returns after his spectacular season in 2018 to defend his title, whilst Laura Collett and Tim Price will surely be hungry to dethrone the reigning champion.
To win the ERM series in 2019, there's no doubt it's been weighing on our minds over the winter time. It's something we're thinking about. However, we'll take it day by day, we'll take it year by year, and it's a difficult sport with so many top riders and so many good horses.
I'm looking for obviously a market improvement this season. I think the unique thing with this series is you need a couple of horses. The way the series is formatted now, it's about being consistent across all legs.
I'm always very excited about the ERM series. Sometimes I wonder if getting excited about it has been my Achilles heel, because often when I've had a good time, it comes when I've just quietly gone about my business. So quietly confident would be my official answer, but I am genuinely very excited to get out there and get stuck in.
Standing in their way, however, will be a stellar field of world champions, Olympic heroes and ERM superstars.
I think it's always super competitive because every rider wants to win an ERM leg and every rider wants to win the series. It's about who's got the most consistent horses and who can really target each leg.
That's one of the greatest things about our sport. For me, it's us versus the course. It's us versus the show jumpings, us versus the dressage test.
I don't have a personal nemesis within sport. I think we're most of the time battling against ourselves for better performances.
You know, if anything, I sort of admire, you know, what the other top guys are doing. Sometimes envious of a couple of horses or a string of horses they have at the time. But all of these things, I think, you know, drive you to work harder, train more, and hopefully finish that one step ahead of them.
You know, Gemma Tattersall, she's won it before. Tim Price, I've heard, is probably going to aim Wesco at a few, so obviously they're an amazing combination and he could be really hard to beat. Yeah, it's super competitive and looking forward to doing battle with everybody.
Well, Chris Burton wants to get series points on the board here to try and defend his title. We heard from Laura Collett there, and she put in an exceptional performance at Chatsworth to get good series points in the bank. Let's just remind ourselves of how the action unfolded in leg one a few weeks ago.
Day one at the Dodson & Horrell Chatsworth International Horse Trials for leg one of the Event Rider Masters' epic journey this year, and with 5 of the world's top 10 in attendance. The Derbyshire Dales will have a test in store for competitors in the cross-country finale, but before that it was time to strut their stuff and set the standard for the competition ahead with the dressage. Bringing Amand de Benneville was German Olympian Julia Krajewski. Accruing just 27.4 penalties from our judges, she slotted into second place and might have a new superstar and German Championship team horse on her hands. But it was Event Rider Masters podium pair from 2018, Laura Collett and London 52, who bested the field. Their score of 26.9, set at the beginning of our final session, lasted through to hold the overnight lead. Day 2 of the opening leg of the 2019 Event Rider Masters season. Early clears from championship medalists and jumping experts like Cathal Daniels and Tim Lips set the scene. And Irish championship medalist Sam Watson also capitalised by jumping clear and moving up from 8th after dressage to lead as we went into the top 3.
And he clears it.
Julia Krajewski's pole down resulted in her losing 1 position and starting cross-country in 3rd place, moving Sam Watson up yet again. But ice-cool Laura Collett jumped the clear she needed to remain leader on her dressage score of 26.9.
She's in the lead.
She really is in the lead.
And so it was onto the ever-influential Chatsworth cross-country. And plenty had incurred problems chasing the elusive clear inside the optimum time of 6 minutes, 16 seconds. Julia Krajewski and Amand de Benneville set off looking to confirm a podium finish, or even better, a win. It was a jumping clear for the German Olympian, but by picking up 9.6 time penalties, she went into 3rd on the live podium. Sam Watson, in 2nd after the jumping, was riding for a first podium and the chance to be the first Irish Event Rider Masters winner. But heartbreak was waiting, with 20 penalties for a glance off at the Event Rider Masters Stag's Heads, crashing him out of contention. Laura Collett and her Arville podium partner, London 52, headed out with a 29-second cushion in hand. This time advantage played into Laura's hands, allowing her to place her horse for each complex and ensure the jumping clear. it would all come down to time as it became clear that no combination would catch the optimum today. The clock stopped 19 seconds over to deliver Laura her first Event Rider Masters leg win.
Well, Laura Collett won't be here this weekend to pick up series points, which gives the opportunity to the likes of Chris Burton, Tim Price, Janelle Price. We'll talk about them a little bit later on, but we're creeping ever closer to the start of the dressage action here. Let's go out and see how things are hotting up out there with Charlotte Ricker.
Hello, Nicole. Yeah, things are hotting up. Thank goodness the sun is out. The crowds are gathering and the tension is really building here in Wiesbaden. Behind me here, we've got the dressage arena, the warm-up area, where the likes of Chris Burton, Janelle Price are going to be getting ready to perform their tests, which are going to be doing right here in front of the Beer Brick Palace. You really couldn't ask for a better setting for the second leg of the ERM series. Now, I'm going to be grabbing the riders after their tests to get their thoughts on their performance of this very influential phase.
Well, the dressage will be starting in around 5-10 minutes time, but we've got lots to bring you before the first rider does go into the arena, and that will be Chris Burton, Lawtown Chloe, getting us underway. Brilliant way to start. But one of the exciting things about the Event Rider Masters series is our work with technology giants SAP, who are just taking the sport to a whole new level. There are so many ways for you to get involved in the Event Rider Masters over the weekend. And of course, you can get involved with the SAP Spectator judging app. You can build fan engagement points. And if you haven't done so already, then make sure you go online to the App Store and download the Echo Rating Stacks game. Loads of questions for you in each of the three phases based on each of the performances of our competitors, and you will have a choice of yes or no. And if you can build your stack by getting a number of questions right in a row, then you will get more fan engagement posts as well. So huge number of ways to get involved. And it is really bringing the sport to the fans, isn't it, Mark?
Well, I think this whole series is about just actually engaging people and actually people's enthusiasm for such a great sport.
Well, there are so many ways to get involved, and Echo ratings are a huge part of that. Now, we haven't got them here on site this weekend. They are coming live to us from Dublin, and I'm going to say a very good morning to Sam Watson. Hi, Sam.
Good morning, Nicole. Yeah, it's all hotting up here. I know the riders are getting ready to do battle there at Wiesbaden, and what a hot competition it is. But now the fans can get involved, and they've got this fantastic fan league in 2019. You've mentioned the Stacks app. We've got 15 questions lined up, ready to go. A tactical affair for everyone this week because there's only 15 people in the competition. Are you going to take on all the questions, or are you going to be selective again? Because it's going to be a nail-biter, this one. But those questions are there and ready to go in the App Store. Echo Rating Stats, get involved. We've got the spectator judging as well. I think this is a huge one this weekend because we could see the Event Rider Masters dressage record being broken. And do you spectators at home, are you going to break the record yourselves? So you've got to download that app and get judging as well. Of course, Hannah's Wilbury Wonder Pony charity that's really touched all of us in this sport in eventing. You're going to see some of the riders going around the cross country with that Wilbury Wonder Pony attached to them as well tomorrow. So please donate and get involved. All creating points for this fan league. So really important stuff. Tomorrow, when cross country gets going. This is what I love from SAP, and I actually had the trackers on me last week at Chatsworth. It's really interesting. Tells you where you are on the course, what speed you're doing, like some great data, some great information as well. So guys, it's a great weekend. I know the riders are getting ready to do battle, but it's time for the fans to do battle as well. Get your phones out.
Well, the competition is hotting up between the competitors and you guys at home. So make sure you do as Sam says, download the different apps. They are free in your app store. We would love for you to get involved. And of course, stay with us on all of the Event Rider Masters social channels throughout the weekend, on Twitter, on Facebook and on Instagram using the hashtag ERMEventing. But Chris Burton will be first to go in the dressage, and he is due in the arena in just 10 minutes time. So it is time for us to go down to the dressage and see who Charlotte's managed to find for us.
What are your thoughts so far about the event?
Technical issues down
amazing,
at the dressage. Mark, we're going to come to you for a second because we've got a small but a mighty field here.
Well, yes, quality over quantity all the time, and I think there's going to be. I do think there could be records broken, maybe even 2 actually, because this field has got 3 horses that are well capable of record breaking.
Record breaking. Well,
Yeah.
we are going to talk about the record breaking in just a moment. Okay, so we've had a technical issue with Charlotte, but we think we've got her again now. Charlotte, back to you.
Es wird dann das Springen folgen in umgekehrter Reihenfolge nach dem Dressurergebnis und dann, wie gesagt, morgen Nachmittag das große Finale im Gelände.
Well, that's not working this time either. A huge apologies to you guys at home. We're going to take a moment now, Mark.
Yeah.
Record breaking.
Yeah.
You touched upon it there for just a second. The Event Rider Masters record, 20.5, set by Thomas Carlyle and Upsilon in 2017 at Barbary.
So it needs breaking.
Needs breaking. It's due a break.
Yeah.
I think I said it was going to happen at Chatsworth and it didn't, because it does require all conditions to come in place, doesn't it?
It does. But I think you have Ingrid and Michael who are on home territory. I think that their confidence, they probably have been here before. I just think the moment is right.
The moment is here.
Right. It is.
So,
And the
okay.
judges, I think these judges are very positive. It does help when you get a panel of positive-minded people, and they will find the good.
We have a hugely experienced ground jury. Nick Burton, who is president of the ground jury at the Tokyo Olympics, is in charge of the ground jury here as well. So we have a hugely experienced trio taking charge of the competition. We go just back to conditions for a second.
Yep.
At Chatsworth, the weather was horrible. The ground was holding. It just didn't come together. The sun is shining. We've
Yep.
got an artificial surface. The ingredients to a record?
Well, it does, because the surface makes a huge difference. In the extended canters, like when you watch that VT from Chatsworth, you could see where the horses were going through the bog.
Bit stuck.
Horses aren't like, and you're asking a horse to do massive extended trots, extended canters, the grip, and the horses are horses, and this artificial surfaces play into record breaking. Because of the confidence, and the riders ask for more because they're not going to slip over. There's not a hole to fall in. And it just makes for more confident riding.
So if we talk about a few of the key contenders that could break or challenge this record, Ingrid Klimke, we'll start with her. She's the defending champion here in Wiesbaden. She took individual bronze at the World Equestrian Games in Tryon last year. Now, she scored 22.2 here 12 months ago. The horse has broken the 80% barrier already this season, albeit the level below. And, just going to put this one out there, a couple of years ago when they won here in Wiesbaden, before it was an Event Rider Masters leg, they scored an 18 in the dressage.
Well,
I think it was an 18.2 off the top of my head. So they've done it before. Would they be your favourites to do so?
Well, they would, and also I see Ingrid's on the B squad for the German Dressage Grand Prix, so she's just sub like Olympic. They've got 5 tube bands, and they've got the ones that will go to the Olympics, and she's on the B squad
for pure dressage. And she's got pure dressages horses here in Wiesbaden as well, competing.
Won 6 Olympic medals, so
pretty impressive.
And she's here competing dressage, so yeah.
She's going to be one of the favourites to do so, and she is last to go in the arena. The other being one of my firm favourites, Julia Krajewski, Samurai Dutot, the reigning German national champions. Now, this horse actually has, in his 3 runs I think he's had so far this year, been sub-20 in 2 of them already.
Yeah.
And in the other one, which was at this level of competition, scored a 21.
And I do think, actually, we need to not forget Chris Burton. I know normally first out isn't, but the way the draw went. I know.
First out into the arena. I mean, that horse has scored a 21.9 at the level below earlier this season.
Yeah. So, I mean, he could lead up until, you know, normally it changes, doesn't it, throughout the morning. But I think Chris Burton could really, really take it to them.
Take it to them. And of course, second into the arena, Sarah Cohen-Treason, who won here 2 years ago. It'll be really interesting to see just how those marks do come. Will we see a new Event Rider Masters dressage record here this weekend? You will have to stay tuned to find out. Don't know how high our excitement levels will be, Mark, if it does happen. But of course, I know somebody who always loves a record, and that is Echo Ratings. Let's go back to Sam.
Yeah, as you say, Nicole, you've been through some of the key contenders. It's all about quality this weekend. At Chatsworth, we had Laura Collett out in front, a clear favourite, and she delivered. But this is a clash of the titans. The first one in our book is actually the in-form horse, Samurai Dutot. They have won their last 6 consecutive internationals. If they can get to 7, that is an Equi Ratings record. That's nothing we've seen in the sport in at least 12 years. So incredible. And as you say, Nicole, 2 of their last 3 dressage scores have been not just below 20, but she's beaten this horse, SAP Hailbob, in 2 of those last 3 internationals. Now, SAP Hailbob, reigning European champion, bronze medal at the World Equestrian Games last year, previous winner here at Wiesbaden as well. Everything going for them. And we know Ingrid Klimke as well, just how good she is in that first phase. Averaging on her 6-run average about a point behind Julia as well. She's going to be last into the ring, so it's going to be very, very tense to see can she overtake her. Now, a few jokers in the pack. World number 1 is Tim Price. This horse, Wesco, he had his biggest moment in the sun, in the sport, 5 years ago, almost to the day when he won the 5-star at Le Moulin. He's back. He loves this short format. Tim was second at Jardy last year with him. They're such a great partnership. Everyone's going to be willing them on, but they've got the ability. They've been over 75% before. That would be below a score 25. So they could push them close and certainly get within a rail. And this combination, this horse, really capable of finishing on it as well. Now, all the way from the US, and already an international winner this season, Liz Halliday Sharp comes here with Fernhill by Night. She was here last year. She knows Wiesbaden and the track. She got a top 10 then. She'll be looking to climb onto the podium this time. She's in form. They can be strong in all 3 phases. And as I say, they like that shorter format as well on the last day. A lot speedier as well, so they could be getting closer to the time on these shorter courses too. So that's it, guys. 4 to follow. There could be more. Get involved. Who's your top 3 going to be? Onto the Stacks app. Let us know.
Well, make sure you do let us know as well. We would love to hear from you on any of the Event Rider Masters social channels. But we are just a couple of minutes away now from the start of competition. And as we've said, we get underway with Chris Burton straight off the front. Lawtown Chloe His Ride, another one to keep an eye on. Janelle Price, Gravine Rev coming forward in their international debut as a partnership. And here come the big guns. Samurai Dutot, Julia Krajewski, and last in, Ingrid Klimke and SAP Hailbob. But this is the man we have all been talking about so far this morning, the 2018 Event Rider Masters Series champion. And actually he took an 8th place finish here with Polystar last year to start his points accumulation. Mark Ruddock in the studio with me. Now, Mark, this is a horse that is very impressive, but she got very, very hot at Chatsworth.
But you can see why she's impressive and why she can get hot, because actually it's that verge of actually all that energy and all that expression she had in that medium trot across there. Wasn't the greatest hold to start with, wasn't quite square enough, but a nice start on that medium trot. But you can see how she has lovely rhythm and lovely energy through that shoulder in. And these good horses are always on the verge.
Is it riding that knife edge sometimes?
It is, and that's why the 8s, 9s and 10s come from. Playing safe doesn't, send the judges to sleep, and you're actually just playing safe. And sadly, there he went for that was exactly it. He had to go for a big mark because this horse has an amazing extended trot, and it didn't come off.
And how expensive will that be?
Down to 3s and 4s, but I mean, these guys know about risks. Their lives is all about taking risks. He'll be quite because the horse actually has a really capable extended trot, like a good mark. But they say then the horse is letting him ride it again, and he'll try and just get them. But she looks rideable.
She looks a lot more relaxed than Chatsworth.
I think Chris would just say he just probably asked for too much, and there was a miscommunication. But very lovely, supple in the half passes, a little bit wobbly at the end. So it's just those little nitpicky things, like especially the judge at sea will have seen she lost her quarters onto the centre line. So it's just these half marks here, there, and everywhere, and it's about the detail at this level. But you can see she is relaxed because that walk is super. So we're looking for over track.
And over track is?
Where if you look at the foreleg, that the hind leg will go beyond where the front leg goes and the hind leg should go over. But you could see there on that shot, it didn't start you lost the over track because actually he was going back into a collected walk. That was cleverly ridden because she was quite tense. And again, he went for canter a little early because he thought actually she's going to get hot. So the difficult thing for a hot horse is probably the canter work with the flying changes, and especially in this test, the Serpentine. That was a smooth half pass. It's quite nice and easy, but this is when tension will show through this movement here, and this is why it's designed to see that actually the quality of the canter stays the same. So he does a loop, and he doesn't change his leg. So the canter should stay exactly the same, which it has. And actually there was no tension there. And then we finish this loop, and then we'll come across in a minute and do a flying change, which was quite nice, but a little bit tight behind. So there wasn't a lot of hind leg separation. So you'd see the hind leg came almost together. So they'll probably on about a 6, 6.5 for that, rather than actually the higher mark.
Than the higher mark that he could get. Well, Nick Burton is president of the ground jury, and he is actually wearing a mic, so we're going to be able to listen in to some of his marks and his comments throughout the test. And we'll just go into Nick for a moment.
More flow. 7. Oh no, wait for my 7 until I look around the corner. I need to wait. Now it's a 7.
Now that's really interesting, Mark, because we just heard Nick there saying he's got to wait for that 7 before, and is that before the movement finishes totally?
Because you, as viewers, you quite often think, oh, that movement's finished, but the movement actually didn't finish till the letter C, where Nick had to wait. And sometimes the judge, you give for the meat of the movement was the half pass, but actually still got it so a spook could happen. And quite often as a judge, we've all done it, you go, and then it'll spook and you have to go, sorry, need to change the mark. So Nick has been very good, very well professional.
Behaved. He is, we would expect nothing less from him.
He would, but sometimes, he was telling himself he had to wait, and he waited for the 7, because there's incidences in between where a mark happens, but then there's the getting around the edge comes into it as well. And like Chris is going to be so disappointed because.
But a beautiful finish.
Yeah, but some beautiful work, just spoilt by that, and that will reflect in the bottom marks as well.
So only 1 mark now given by our judges for overall picture of horse and rider, rather than the previous 4 collective marks.
Yeah.
But I have to admit, we've seen some very good scores coming through. Plenty of 8s and 9 in there as well. We're going to see a sub-30 score. Mark, it's difficult, isn't it? Because Chris has only taken on this mare at the end of last season.
Yeah.
She's been campaigned up to 4-star, actually over here in Germany by Anna Siemer. But he is still getting to know the mare.
Well, he is, and like every time you go into an arena with a horse, and especially this, you know, you learn something about the horse, and you say Chatsworth, she was very hot, so you'll be pleased with her. She was more rideable. But you see how that started to be like, that promised to be like. This is the one that went wrong, actually, wasn't it? This was the first one.
This was the first one, yes.
So he got that first one, and he thought, right, I'll go for the second one and go even more, because that first one was so rideable, and she just lost a little bit of balance.
But that's the risk you've got to take sometimes.
He was going for a 10.
Yeah.
You know.
Now, one thing I would say, 28.3 is going to put Chris Burton well in touch at the end of dressage. We've no doubt about that. And series points again to keep an eye on with him. It was here last year that he started his series campaign.
Yeah, you know. He should be very, I mean, he'd be pleased but disappointed, won't he? See Ingrid just walking away, having watched.
Julia Krajewski in the pink shirt there, just watching on with Christoph Waller, checking out the competition. She'll be coming forward with Samurai Dutot a little bit later on. If you're tuning in for her test, 12:46 Central European time, so 11:46 if you're watching in Britain. But Chris Burton gets us underway with a 28.3 with Lawtown Chloe, and here comes the lady who won here 2 years ago on this very horse, Pressy Spark and Liz Jones's Treason, a horse that is 17 years of age now, by hand in glove, but is absolutely a superstar, a real part of the family. And Sarah keeps him at home. He's the only horse that she has now at this level. I think the only horse that she has at all, apart from maybe a kid's pony at home as well. But he is a part of the family. She knows him inside out. They've been together for a very, very long time. This would be a combination that do know each other very well, Mark.
Well, exactly. And she will be able to actually ride for every mark because she knows him. So they know each other so well. And he's really easily trained. He always looks quite very rideable, this horse. Now Sarah's going to kill me if anything goes wrong.
And I think, if my memory serves me correctly, this horse does actually prefer the A test, which we are doing here in Wiesbaden, as opposed to the B test that we did at Chatsworth.
No one likes that B test, to be fair, because of the hideous sport pirouettes. But this is a more forward riding test, and it doesn't make you ride backwards. So really positive entry. See, so she must have been very straight for the judge at C with her 9.
It's good to see the judges using a real range of marks early, isn't it?
You know, and to be fair, Nick would have seen the straightness, so that's where he came out with a 9. That was a lovely medium trot across there, the rhythm and the ground cover. And we were looking that the rhythm stays the same in the medium trots, the tempo. Oh, little miscommunication there. So she was in a shoulder in, and the horse thought, I'm going to half pass without you, mummy. So that might have been too familiarised, knew the test too well. Yes. So that was a shame. And that's why that mark was a little bit like it was. So, really good steps, but you could see the rhythm changed a little bit through that because you went for it. So they will mark that down a little bit because the rhythm varied. They would say a disturbance in the rhythm. A really pleasing halt, but it could be a little more settled in the contact. But there's a lot going on at that end of the arena. You can't really feel the atmosphere through the TV, can you? But it's very buzzy down there. You know, and the halt was nice, but you couldn't go any more because of just a bit of tension in his mouth.
I have to admit as well, big fan of Sarah's music. A little bit of Greatest Showman for her dressage.
Yeah, gotta love it. That left half pass, you could see it wasn't very supple, so he lost the rhythm. So, yeah, that was marked accordingly because you could see maybe he's allowed to be a little bit stiff at 17. You know. And as these older horses, the lateral work does sometimes just struggle a little bit with the older horses because they are just a little bit stiffer.
They're also very wise.
They are wise. And I think what we need to say to everyone as well, these horses are fit to run for their lives.
Yes,
so
absolutely.
Actually, to keep them just even in rideable, we forget that they're out fit to run however many miles tomorrow and at full speed. That actually to be this rideable. The transition there was very nice, very smooth, very relaxed, which is what you're looking for in the walk. It just is anticipating everything just a little bit ahead of Sarah. Like there, he knew that half pass was coming and she stopped him, but it's just these half marks get dropped because they're just not completely always on the aids. You see here the canter is just trying to pull down a little bit into the contact, which would indicate a little bit of tension. But the horse has such a beautiful, beautiful paces. It's a shame just that little bit tightness. because it just dropping the marks a touch. They're a big highlight of this horses are the flying changes.
And extended canter, I want to say as well.
We're about to do that shortly. So the flying change was really big and really expressive. I don't understand why it got 6.5, but maybe the judge at E, it wasn't quite straight in front of the judge at E. So
now just talk us through this, because it is extended canter and then is it back to medium canter on the circle?
So it starts medium on the straight, so it starts extended, and then they go to medium because it's deemed actually they can't hold extended canter around a circle, and then they come back there with the transition back to the medium. So they're meant to see 2 transitions. So to be fair, the circle backs them off anyway, so it shows them the medium. You wouldn't say to a rider to actually deliberately slow down. The circle would make the horse back off to a medium canter.
So you almost stay in your extended and the circle does the work for you.
Yeah, the circle does the work of the engaging. You know, and it's just, all I would say that this horse has slightly anticipated everything. So everything hasn't been quite finished, or he's started a little bit early. That I would say the wise old owl knows the job. But they should just punch out those changes.
So he scored 29.7 at Chatsworth last time out.
Yeah, so I think it was the little bit of the half passes and the couple of anticipation things in the beginning of the trot that just kept the mark speed in the 7s and the 7.5s. You see, like there, how the transition back, they're going to really like that, or they should.
What would you give it?
I would give that a 9 because it was so smooth, so smooth. And it was clear.
7.58.
Yeah.
But it does drop her sub 30.
Yeah.
And
a very good halt at the end.
A very good halt to finish. So Sarah Cohen and Treason, who won here 2 years ago, and 8.89 for their final halt. I think she'll be pretty happy with that.
She will be happy, but she will again go away with not what ifs, but just little the details of him just going a little bit before her and just anticipating and not being able to finish things, like definition. And it's a definition that gives you the other half marks. I mean, she'll be really happy, but she still knows she could have got more.
She'll still know. And she is a real competitor. She may only have the one horse at this level now, but she really, really wants to win. And I know they had one hell of a party when she took the title here 2 years ago. Well, we'll wait for her score to come in. And 28.3, so she actually goes onto the same score as Chris Burton. Both our first 2 competitors scoring 28.3. And from a first early indication, Mark, of our judges, do you think we're heading into perfect record-breaking conditions? We are.
We are, because they've got the 9s out a few times already. Oh, we are. They're in the right frame of mind to do this.
Well, watch this space. We'll be watching it throughout the weekend, but Sarah Cohen-Treason just chatting to her groom on the way out of the arena. And Mr. T, as he's known at home, will just be checked out by the steward as well. But Charlotte, you're going to see just what's happening down there on the ground.
We are. I'm just going to grab Sarah. She's just getting off here. Sarah, if we can just grab you. Sorry. The smile on your face is always a good thing. We're just going to make sure we're out of the way here.
Sorry.
Sarah, smile on your face as always. How do you feel about the test?
Yeah, he was a good boy. He was good. I love it when you get to the canter work and you get that big medium canter. It's just like switching on cruise control. He's lovely, and it's just a shame we still can't let go a bit more in the lateral work and the trot. But because he can do it all, it's just getting out there and doing it.
It is, and obviously it's a lucky place for you here. How are you feeling about the rest of the event?
Yeah, it's great. It's got a great feel here. I've been having to hang out with the Aussies a bit this weekend because I'm the only Brit here again. But it's been great fun, and it's very relaxed, and it's a beautiful setting. And yeah, looking forward to the week.
Fantastic. Looking forward to watching you. Good luck.
Thank you. Thanks.
Well, she is a firm fan favourite and a really, really lovely lady as well. We'll be wishing Sarah Cohen the best of luck over the weekend. But now comes the second of our 3 Australians. It is Katja Weimann with BP Escapade. This horse owned by Katja. Actually missed the second half of last season, but went well previously. 5th at Stragom in the long format 4-star. And actually was 9th here in the non-event Rider Masters section 12 months ago. Katja actually rode BP Cosmopolitan in the event Rider Masters to a top 20 finish. And this is a horse that was actually bred and produced by Katja, who started off her career out in Australia and has been based on the continent since the middle of 2017.
Her face looked one of very, very deep concentration just before the bell went.
As it should be.
Yeah. So the judge will think there the horse lacked engagement into that halt.
It did lack engagement,
yes,
did you say?
It did. So you can see how he slightly skidded a little bit into the halt where he needed to place his hind legs a bit more underneath him. And that side judge will, because we've got quite good side view, they will notice that. So this horse, compared to the previous two, doesn't really use his hind legs as sort of actively as the other two. It doesn't bend the hocks and push them underneath, so you feel doesn't have that much cadence. And when I mean cadence, I mean sort of lift and lightness in his feet. So like there, everything's correct, the rhythm's correct, but it doesn't have that sort of moment of airtime or like just lightness. But he's very obedient, and it's all there. So actually, the judges are noticing that. So
and actually, that's a good point, isn't it? Because you can have the flashiest mover in the world, but if you're not accurately producing the test,
no, or not rideable,
it doesn't matter.
No, where this horse wouldn't be the most sort of gifted in its paces, but they're correct, but he's letting her ride, so the accuracy. So she will quite often think, I'm probably not going to get that many 8s, but she got one there. But
nice
actually,
halt.
but I'm going to go for the detail. You know, and you can pipe away getting 7s, 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 and you're going to get into 30s. You know, again, very correct in the shoulder in, just a little unsteady in the contact. So another reason they'll just mark that down a touch. And can you see there in the half pass is what we call tilting towards judge at C. So imagine judge at C won't mark that half pass so high. So the tilting just proves the resistance to the bend. She was asking him to bend in the... Oh, he didn't mind it. But actually, he will have thought, actually, the legs were crossing. So when you're judging, you start from the 10 and you drop down. So you always started at 10. So he ended up on the 7 when they find faults. And again, quite relaxed in the walk, but we're lacking what we were talking about the overtrack earlier. So he needs to have more purpose and actually overtrack more from the hind leg, stepping over the front leg. And so that probably like a 6, 6.5. And
there you go. It's like you know what you're talking about, Mark.
I know.
Anybody would think you're a judge.
I know, wouldn't they? I'm not going to examine it and everything. So sadly, though, we had a little bit of tension in that medium walk. You know, so that dropped that mark down. But this horse really allows her to ride him and say that in that half pass it was clear. She put the right fore over and he just went where he was pointed. And again, like Sarah's horse, Sarah's horse looked like he was jumping over like bulls and was jumping every stride. This horse just a little bit flatter. But actually, he's not even. So that change.
A little bit early?
No, you're allowed a metre either side.
Okay.
Which must be new this year, because I was reading it earlier, and I went, that must be new. They're allowed to do it a metre either side. So, but the change was quite tight to her aid. Could you feel he almost like humped a little bit, for want of a better word. So she put the aid on, and he sort of jumped against her leg, and that's why that mark was that. But it was clean, it was correct. But Sarah's horse like exploded, she put the 8 on for flying change and it exploded, and that's why she got the 8 and the 9.
Well, these scores are certainly still adding up to a very good trending score of 32.7, because BP Escapade actually scored 38.5 here 12 months ago. So she'll be pretty pleased with this so far, I think.
Well, so she's obviously gone away and really worked on detail, and he hasn't put a foot wrong. You know, it just isn't the most sort of gifted within his paces, but you can't help that. We're not all born to dance. Well, I am, but 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 it is the same. These horses have to do 3 things, but it is so rideable, and that change, you see, was just not off on the aid, and that was correctly marked. But you can see you just get to a couple of 4s, and the score plummets.
Well, Katja just coming towards the end of her test. So let's just go to President of our ground jury, Nick Burton, and see what he has to say as she comes up the final centre line.
7.
Well, a 7 for her final halt from President of our ground jury, Nick Burton. And Katja will be looking to go into 3rd on the leaderboard.
The final score, judge at E 66.875.
Jemima just checking in with her team at the end of her test. Will confirm her score for you, 33.9. So much improved on last year. And Katja is with Charlotte.
Katja, an improvement on last year. How do you feel that went?
A good different horse this year, but really good. Like, he can be a little funny in the atmosphere, and he was really good today, so really happy with him.
Fantastic. And what are your thoughts on for the rest of the event?
It's always lovely here, isn't it, in the park? Like, I've had a little look around the cross country, and so far it looks good, and looking forward to jumping this afternoon.
Fantastic. Well, best of luck. Thank you.
Thanks.
Well, she was top 20 in the Event Rider Masters here 12 months ago, as she says, on another horse. And this horse has previously been top 10 here in Wiesbaden as well. Beautiful shot there of Briebisch Palace. It is an incredible backdrop to all 3 phases of competition. The public park is where the cross-country, Rüdiger Schwarz's cross-country track will be taking place. The dressage, of course, here in front of the palace. But this afternoon we'll be bringing you all of the show jumping as well, and that takes place in the big grass show jumping stadium. So brilliant facilities, and next to come forward is Jan Matthias, who makes his Event Rider Masters debut, just 22 years of age, Jan. And there's a 14-year-old by Grafenstolz, Granulin 2, owned by Jan and Jürgen Matthias. Horse that only stepped up to this level of competition last season, but has been clear cross-country on all 3 previous runs as well. How important is it, Mark? You know, we see riders such as Jan, who's won a team gold at the Young Rider Europeans for Germany, to be competing against the likes of the world #1 Tim Price, Michael Young, the Olympic champion Ingrid Klimkes of the world.
But it's that whole thing, is that you surround yourself with people, and you compete against the best, and you want to raise your game, and it just sort of success just breeds success, and just being around them and feeding off them and observing, and actually probably almost actually how they deal with things and mentally disappointments, and just being around the professionals just helps you raise your game. You know, you're better to be the small fish in that bigger pond for a while, and you will become that big fish, because what everyone forgets is all those good riders weren't amazing, weren't famous once. They were. Everyone forgets, you know, they weren't born amazing.
Well, some of them were, but, you know, I get what you mean.
Do you know what I mean, though?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. You know, you have to think of all the stories of Tim and Janelle when they went to that event and they actually had to ask for their prize money in cash to get back home.
Yeah.
You know, and now look, it's where they are. And I think event riders don't forget where they've come from.
No.
You know, and I think that's the beauty of eventing. So the horse could have been more supple in that half pass. The shoulder was quite nice, but it's got a lovely rhythm. It's in the tempo, and it looks really rideable. I mean, it looks very same to Katja's horse, where it actually wouldn't have the biggest paces, but actually has rideability, which goes a long way. You know, especially in this environment today. You know, not the greatest halt, but he could have prepared a little bit more. And then there the judge will say sort of drag back, but it was clear and it was a rein back, so it'd be the 6.65s. So we can see like there that shouldering where the horse is getting a bit onto his hands. So if we were listening to Nick, I'm sure he'd be saying needs more engagement or lacking self-carriage, because you can see how the horse just pulls a little bit down onto his hands. And there to the walk, very nice transition into the walk. Again, really showing really good relaxation and purpose and march. I just wanted his head to be a little bit steadier to get onto the 8s. But the walk is really good. And we can see Isaac doing overtrack. Could have it just is overtracking. Could go more for the extended. But what will be slightly irritating the judges is the unsteadiness in the contact. So his head needs to be stiller and stay more in the middle of his chest. But I think this is why he's had to do that, because you could see the tension there into that transition. So you obviously had to keep him a little bit more on the aid and saying to him, you listen to me. Very smooth into the half pass. You can see the positioning was very good. The right foreleg was the first leg that was leading. That's what we want to see. It's called 3 tracks. So you can see the horse was on 3 tracks throughout there. So again, I was saying about the self-carriage or engagement, where the horse wants to go a little bit onto his hands. And you can see he keeps trying to take a little half forward, where he uses his seat in his leg and tries to get the horse's hind leg to step under his body and then come lighter. And he tried to prepare that change. It wasn't the greatest change we've seen. But it wasn't. It was just because the way the horse's way of going was a little bit down onto the shoulder and onto the forehand. So here we need more ground cover. So again, it's clear, but you can see the lack of suppleness a little bit around the half circle. Slightly would have felt like he was slightly on a motorbike. And then it'll be marked down for that problem with the contact as he brought him back. The horse didn't want to come back to the collected canter. So he just sort of resisted a bit in the mouth, and that's where the mark will have dropped down. But fluent in the half pass. A little bit spooky there, I'd say. So again, you can see he just wants, he'd like the rider to carry him.
Well, as he comes round for the second of his flying changes, let's go back to Nick Burton on the ground jury. Well,
I think he'd be saying the flying change wasn't the best flying change.
What would you have given that?
Flying change of 5 or 4 or 5.
Well, an expensive mistake for him, but still trending 34.1. The horse's personal best at this level is 35.1, and that's Jan's personal best as well. So they are on target to actually beat that here, and very much building their experience at this level. But a very good performance in the first phase on their Event Rider Masters debut for Granulin and Jan Matthias. We'll just see the second of those flying changes again, Mark.
Yeah, so he comes a little bit, yeah. So he came out of the canter a little bit wild, to be fair. Lacked preparation, and then the change wasn't completely clean. So, you know, he will have known as he came off that long side, this canter isn't great for this flying change.
How much does that impact?
Well, the flying change and the canter? Yeah, well, it'd be massive to the test, but I wonder, with the scores he's been having, if the flying change has been a problem, because they would be the weak link.
They've only just stepped up to the level fairly recently. So we'll get a score for Jan in just a second's time, but we're going to get his immediate reaction with Charlotte. Nice big smile.
Jan Matthias, just 22, your first time here. How do you think the test went?
Oh, it was really nice to ride there. It's really beautiful, and the feeling is really great to ride here.
I don't think we've heard the score yet. Have you heard your score yet coming through?
No, not yet. I didn't listen to it.
35.2, I've just been told. How do you feel about that score?
Oh, that's really nice. I'm really happy with that. He's sometimes a bit nervous, but today he was really nice to ride, and I can work in the dressage really good with him.
Fantastic. Well, your first time here, so really, really congratulations.
Thank you. So it's really, really nice to be here.
Thank you very much.
Well, Jan, it is good to have you here as well. Not not quite a personal best, 0.1 off, but still a very good performance in the first phase. So 4 combinations have gone. If you're just joining us here, leg 2 of the Event Rider Masters in Wiesbaden. Briebisch Palace, the backdrop for all 3 phases of competition. Then 4 combinations have gone, and the joint leaders, Chris Burton, Lawtown Chloe, Sarah Cohen and Treason, 28.3. They are the ones to beat at the moment. Then it is Katja Weimann, 33.8 with BP Escapade, and Jan Matthias, we just saw him, 35.2, currently completing the top 4. But we are halfway through this first session of dressage. 3 combinations to come before the break, and actually a pretty impressive combination coming forward now. Now, this is one I am really looking forward to seeing, because it is Janelle Price, and Janelle rides at Gravine d'Arève, owned by Therese Miller, Philip Hunt and Joe Preston Hunt. But this is a horse that is a new ride for Janelle this season. Actually went to the World Equestrian Games for Team New Zealand with Jan Jocelyn last year. Was on the same team as the Janelle when they secured Team Olympic qualification. But a new ride, as I say, this year, and it is their first international start. So very much a bit of an unknown quantity. And Mark, again, another combination who are looking to get to know each other in this kind of atmosphere.
And there is you cannot practice and practice. The only way to do this is to keep coming to these places and doing it, and they will learn and develop. I mean, I know it's a big deal, but you can't actually go down your local show and get these environments. But, you know, the horse has been to WEG, and I think Janelle's been around a little bit. So, actually, you know...
Janelle, she's fairly good,
you know. I shouldn't say been around a little bit. It makes it sound wrong. But... You know, she will be able to read the horse. The horse, you know, they will learn.
Well, this horse actually averages in the horse's 3 runs at this level, 33.1. Obviously, it's the first run with Janelle. Now, the Equirating Stacks question is, can Janelle beat 33.1? Mark?
I'd say.
Yes.
Because, how it started. Okay, the halt wasn't the greatest halt we've ever seen, but it was quiet. But that was punchy. She's giving me the impression she's going for these marks. You know, she's going for some energy. She's going for a bit of activity. She just needs to be careful she doesn't rush the rhythm a little bit too much, because it doesn't have the biggest ground cover. But that was very fluent and very forward and very bold, and they're like that. Could be more supple in the half pass to stop it being an 8. But within the 7.5 range. And again, she comes to this extended. And for a true extended, the rhythm does quicken a little bit there, so they will count. So the 1-2 goes quicker. If you watch her 1-2 round the short side, when she went into the medium trot, the extended trot, the 1-2 went quicker. So technically, to be correct, the 1-2 needs to stay the same.
What's the 1-2?
The beat. The 1-2.
The beat. 1-2. 1-2. Okay.
The 1-2 should stay the same throughout the whole in the extended, collected. The 1-2 stays the same. So she was a little bit quick in her 1-2s. But like there, the quarters led into the half pass, and she's trying to get it to correct it, but the horse is desperate to get the quarters to lead. So the judge at sea will clearly see that. And he will, I saw him lean over to his righter there, and probably say to us, say quarters leading. And yeah, that was all quite nice in the walk, but again, doesn't have the biggest ground cover. So she's working on relaxation there. So the mare looks relaxed, but she doesn't have the biggest stride in the walk, which she can't do anything about. It's just the way it is. He. So she looks like a girl. I don't know why. But like that was why that walk couldn't really be any more than that, just because of the lack of the ground cover. So I expect this horse is going to pick the marks up in the canter. I've decided it's a canterer.
It's a canterer? Is that the official term?
It's a canterer, yeah. Well, like Sarah Cohen's is a canterer.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, well-positioned half pass. She's letting her ride. He is letting Janelle ride him. So looking there, they won't quite like, is going a little bit short in the neck. You can see the horse's nose coming a little bit behind the vertical, where it needs to stay on the true vertical line. Like there, it's quite a good picture.
Well, let's go for this first flying change and listen in to Nick Burton at sea.
Late behind. So here 6.5, and then for the change 4, not through behind.
Okay, so 6.5, not through behind the comments. Agree?
No, he went 6.5 for the first move, then he went 4 for the. He went 4. He went 4 for the late behind. He went 6.5 for the previous movement, which was serpentine.
Okay.
Then he went 4 for the late behind. He said not through.
There's a lot you have to think about as a judge, isn't there?
You do. You have to be able to talk, think, look, and what nobody seems to think is how quick your reactions have to be. And you've got to get the mark, move on, and keep moving and thinking forward. And you can't hang on. It's quite tiring. It is quite exhausting because you so want to do the right job, and you have to be on every stride.
Contrary to some belief, judges are human.
The odd one, yeah. I think there's a certain age we have our hearts taken out.
Better second change?
Much better second change. But only probably to a 6.5 because the horse went a little bit against her hand. It was true and it was correct. But again, you see, and when you get into the 5-star test, that has 4 flying changes. So you can see if you've got 4 flying changes, you can't really do. It brings the marks really down. But Janelle will get that canter. It's fine. It's just the risk of these tests with the flying changes. Some days you get them, some days you don't. But actually, that shouldn't really be some days. It should be the training that you will always get them.
Well, Janelle Price coming to the end of her test with Gravine Dadev. And Janelle actually finished on Event Rider Masters podium twice back in 2016 and was also 3rd in the series in 2016 as well. Husband Tim was 2nd in the series last year, and I think it's safe to say Janelle would really like to knock him down a peg or two and overtake him in the 2019 Event Rider Masters series. But Gravine Dadev, Janelle Price will bring you their score in just a moment.
Yes. Janelle, hello. Can we just grab you? Are you like to jump off the horse and come and have a quick chat? Sorry, can you tell me the score again? We got the score through, 33.9. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, look, it's very early days for Gravine Dadev and I only picked up the ride in March. You know, I'd say there's still a few little communication errors. You know, it's not quite where I'd like it to be, but this is sort of our first real test and there were no obvious mistakes and lots to build on moving forward.
Not used to seeing you on a gelding, and he's a big boy, isn't he? How does he differ from the man?
Yeah, he's so different. He's really rideable in the arena, which is bizarre. And yeah, really simple gelding, so in that respect it actually makes for a nice change. But equally, probably not as naturally generous as the mares. You know, the mares are so flamboyant and sort of always wanting to do a bit more. He'd rather do a little bit less, but I'm sure I can eke a bit more out of him and somewhere we'll meet in the middle.
I'm sure you will, you always do. Good luck for the rest of the event. Thank you, Janelle.
Thank you.
She really is a true competitor. Janelle Price, Gravine Dadev into 4th on the leaderboard. Next up is a combination who had a good deal of success here 12 months ago. They actually won as a combination the other 4-star section, and Ludwig was well placed in the Event Rider Masters with El Kazir as well. He rides Stinger, and this is a horse that is owned by Skanagada and Ewan Magnuson Kroon, and a horse that actually has had a really good number of successful placings at this level. Comes here having finished on their dressage score for a 5th place finish at Houghton a few weeks ago. And Ludwig, of course, a man who is no stranger to being inside the world's top 10. And Mark, a very good start.
It was very smooth and the halt was great and the move off was great. And he just looks rideable from the start.
Now this is really interesting because this horse can get very tense in the first phase. He got tense at Chatsworth, but he is capable of producing a score that is well into the 20s.
Well, you could see the ability within his paces that the big score is in there. But, you know, we're saying about the event horses, it's just the day that's in it. You know. So again, they're going to like the rideability. You could say he was a little bit onto his shoulders there. So it won't get into the 8 range.
How do you mean on 2 shoulders?
So, did you see like there into that halt, how the horse went down rather than actually, it went down onto his shoulders rather than actually sat on his bottom. So, and it's the same thing. It's all about the engine is from behind. So it's all the engine should do, the back legs should do the work, and it shouldn't actually then go down onto the hand or onto the shoulders. It should actually push the front up like a speedboat in water where the front comes up. So we're looking for the engine. That's when I say when it feels like it goes down onto the shoulders. So it's when the engine doesn't want to work enough, the front end starts to stutter, and the horse goes, "Carry my head, please, thank you very much," because it's easier for them. But again, this has been really smooth, really consistent. It looks, I'm not saying it.
What were you going to say?
It looks really rideable.
Very relaxed.
You know, and I mean, the good horses do have those days where you can just get it, and other days you can't. But I would say, actually, like, environment-wise, this is probably much nicer than Chatsworth because it's a lovely sunny day.
It is.
It's not like North Derbyshire and...
Driving wind and rain,
yeah. You know, it's the day that's in it. But again, like here, I'd say the canter. So this is a good example of when I'm saying down on the shoulders. You can see, you're getting the feeling, his head's getting a little heavy in his hands. And that if the rein snapped, his head might just slightly drop. He's doing a very good tactful job. But this is where the flying changes are difficult. If he doesn't get the horses on the hind leg and engaged round this turn here, the flying change will be rubbish. But he has done his homework there. Yeah. He did. So he used the serpentine, which actually is there to help you to get the change. You could see he came off the track and he was like, "I need to get you off your head." So he's going really big there.
And just on that extended medium canter, let's see what Nick Burton has to say. Not much, Mark.
Not much.
Not much.
No, it was. Well, he gave it an 8, so he didn't. So we need to say that as well. So the judges, we don't have to give a mark for anything less than. We have to compulsory give a mark for 6 or less. So it got an 8. So Nick didn't feel there was any need to say anything for an 8. Sometimes you do comment on the 8s because you're thinking there could be a 9 or a 10. But Nick will have been giving his rider a little break then because you think actually I can give the 8. That change wasn't so good as the other way. So it is difficult when we're going to the judgment. It's an 8 because he has nothing to say. So we'll let Nick off.
Yes. Okay.
Yes. So maybe we should have hung in there for a little longer.
Expensive flying change for his score.
Very.
Now he really did keep going round that circle.
He did. You know, and I would imagine Ludwig thought, right, blast. I've lost a change. I need to get a few marks back on this galloping round here. And so hopefully we'll come up. And what I've noticed with Nick's scores, he goes highest with his marks and lowest with his marks.
How much of a skill is that as a judge to use your range?
I think it's what we should do, but I think it's quite easy to sit in the middle and then you don't cause any controversy.
How much as a judge are you aware of causing controversy?
What, with social media?
Yeah, it's a very different world now, isn't it?
Oh, it's a horrendous world. It's a horrendous world for social media. No one's, you know, we can sit here and watch this more in depth, but there'll be somebody in the stands having a coffee, chatting with their friends, and they glance in and out of a test. They don't see the detail of what happened, and then they'll sit there and run you down for
have an opinion.
Oh, yeah.
And the whole point is judges are situated at different parts of the arena to see different things.
Exactly. You know, the judge at C is there for the straightness, really, and the judge at the side is there more for the frame, and the other judge, you know, pure dressage. I don't understand why eventing don't have 5 judges.
How many do they have in pure dressage?
5 up to Olympics, but in Olympics and World Games 7.
7.
So there'll be
Good
one
grief.
at A and one at A and one
Every
at F.
letter.
Every letter. It's like there is no escape. But I think eventing should move on to this level, 4-star and above, where they have 5 judges. So you have a B, you have 3 on the long side and B and E.
Do you think there are enough judges at the right quality and standard to do so?
But they need to make more then.
And would that give more
give
judges
more
an
opportunity
experience?
because the thing with ground juries is there's only 3 and they can only change ground. They have to change ground juries every 3 years. So, you know, if they were having 5, there would be more people could be able to come through.
Well, a score for Ludwig Svenestall.
Yep. Okay. I haven't heard the score.
Cute.
Okay, we're going to grab Ludwig here, have a quick chat with him. He's just with his horse and with the FEI judges, with the FEI official. Ludwig, I haven't heard the score yet. Have you heard your score?
I think it was 30.2.
Sorry, could you say 30.2? How do you feel about that?
It's okay. I think the horse did what he can. It's a shame about the last change, but overall I think it was an okay test, and now we just need to finish on that dressage score.
What do you do? We know you're fast cross country. How are you feeling about the show jumping?
Yeah, it feels good. He jumped clear last year in the ring, and he's been jumping good in the last show. So no, it feels good. We're excited to be here.
Fantastic. We're excited to watch you. So the best of luck.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Well, he says it like it's so easy. Get your dressage score, just finish on it. The elusive FOD that Equa ratings talk about a huge amount, and it is such an important part. It's the name of the game, Mark, but
well,
actually
it
is difficult to do.
It's so difficult to do with, especially the show jumping times got tighter nowadays. It is very difficult. Yeah, I mean, you do your dressage and you have to have the goal finish on your dressage score. It's not that easy.
But it is particularly difficult here as well because the show jumping is tough, particularly the time in the show jumping, and of course the cross-country track is very, very tight on time as well. But Ludwig managed to do it twice last year, so we'll watch this space again. Now it is the second of our Swedish riders, Louise Reimerker with Waikiki. Well, this is the horse that she rode alongside Ludwig and Stinger actually at the World Equestrian Games in Tryon last year. Sweden, who missed out on team qualification for the Olympic Games in Tokyo, so they are working very, very hard to gain a team spot this year, either through the Nations Cup route or through the European Championships, which are being held here in Germany at Le Moulin at the end of August. But there's a combination that come here in very good form, was second at Houghton a few weeks ago. Louise, a very, very talented young rider, and has actually spent a good number of years here in Germany learning her trade through Peter Thompson, who we'll see come forward a little bit later on.
Nice start. Just landed very lightly. And like with engagement, this is quite fancy as well. You can see like the rhythm there. It stays in the same 1-2, and this horse has cadence as well, so it has that lift, and it makes it look like the school is made of like rubber, so it bounced in that. And you can't actually, you can make horses trot better, but actually it just has really good natural cadence.
Now, have you seen, you said this horse was pretty flashy in the first phase. You know, a few years ago, the odd flying change was fine, but the standard in dressage has improved. Have you seen a difference in the horse that's coming forward?
Well, we could have that whole thoroughbred debate thing, but we won't do with all that. So they've got to be 7 times and then thoroughbred, blah, blah, blah. But there's not a thoroughbred on this list at all. But because they need to have that little bit more movement, so the warm bloods have had to come in. And exactly right with the 9s and the 8s there. But you're getting the breeding with the thoroughbred crosses with the warm bloods, and you're getting the stamina and the movement. You know, this horse has got a lot of quality. I don't know why its trend's gone to suddenly dropped.
Probably just a slow score coming in.
I think it's a slow score.
Yeah, because the trending score was very good. In fact, I just turned my head for a second to look up. There you go, 3/8. Just turned my head to a second to look. 26.7 is both Louise and the horse's personal best at 4-star levels. So we're going to be watching that very closely.
I mean, it doesn't miss a beat in the trot, and and you just sit there judging it, and they're just going 7, 5, 8, 8, 9. It's so and there's no point in actually saying to the producers there, don't go to Nick because he won't be saying anything. But I wouldn't listen in because he won't be saying much because he's giving big marks. There won't be a lot of
when
critique.
You have big marks, do you just not give it as many comments?
You give the odd comment maybe as why it's only an 8 and why it could be a 10. But on the whole, for your writers, you think they can enjoy actually, because these poor writers actually giving their time. So the walk wasn't the horse's strong point, but he's into a canter, and actually it doesn't matter that it doesn't walk that well. It walked correctly enough, but the canter is as gorgeous as the trot. Flying change very easy within the same canter. It's like there, just easy. I'm surprised I got a 6, but actually the judge at E probably saw it was crooked because that's what that judge is sat there for. It would have been opposite her, so she'll have seen the crookedness. Very good in the ground cover. Very bold, very brave, and smoothly. And it's I said smoothly. There was a little resistance on the way back.
But actually, judge at C perhaps not have seen that.
He won't see that, but the judge at E will, and that's why the marks slightly vary. And if Nick goes higher, then and he did, because he couldn't see its contact. But you can see how he just easily. This horse just glides. Glides.
Glides.
That's my word of the day then. Glides from one movement to another. The canter's lovely there. And she looks like she's having a thoroughly, focused...
enjoyable test.
But this is what dressage should look like. It looks easy. It looks quite invisible with her aids. And she just looks like she's pointing and steering. And she's not. And that was a bang-on change.
What would you give it?
I'd go 9.
It was very nice. And this is looking to be...
I've gone 8. Okay, they went 8. It's fine.
Well, this is looking to give Louise a personal best at the level if the scores continue in this vein.
Well, hopefully she won't fall off. And then, so she could have been a little braver there, if you want to be critical.
Well, coming up, her final centre line, Louise Reimacher making her Event Rider Masters debut, a huge grin. She looks absolutely delighted with that, and so she should. It's going to be a personal best, I think, 25.8 she's trending at the end. And we'll look for her final score when it does come through. She'll be our new leader. And we're yet to have a Swedish rider win an Event Rider Masters leg. We've had them on the podium previously. Will it be here in Wiesbaden? This is certainly a combination to keep a very close eye on in all of the phases. So we'll get Louise's score in just a second. And Mark, you really liked that horse.
I loved it. It was like harmony. It was, and you could see how happy she was. And it was actually how dressage meant to be. It just flowed from one movement to another. Horse completely on the job, but looking like he was showing off. He was like a greatest showman, to be fair.
Well, Louise looking absolutely delighted. We'll hear that from her in just a second. But Sam's over in Ireland with Echo Corner. Sam, what have you got for us so far?
Well, guys, we said that this year's field was all about quality. Early indicators are saying that is absolutely the case. A 9 from the judges for Chris Barton, 9s for Sarah Cohen as well. The judges were giving marks. We're already treading ahead of average for most competitors, and I think that's going to give us a record. The best averages we've seen so far: Jardy 2017 29.9, Chatsworth 2016 29.4. That's the record. Wiesbaden were already averaging 30.7, mainly thanks to Louise. Their huge test is going to be a record. We've got some big guns to come, Nicole.
I amazing. You just got into the lead. How does that feel?
Amazing! It's a new personal best. She was super. She was so concentrated and with me through the whole test. I'm super happy.
Well, the smile says it all, but you made that look so easy. That's kind of how dressage is meant to look.
Well, that's a very nice compliment. Thank you.
Is she as easy as she looks? I mean, you made it. It was beautiful.
Well, she tends to get a bit hot, but today she was just super good. She just stayed with me the whole time, so I could really ride her, and then she's just amazing.
How are you feeling about the rest of the show jumping this afternoon?
Well, I mean, now I'm happy for a little bit, and then load and then focus on the show jumping, because it's not over until the fat lady sings.
It's not over until the fat lady sings or the cross-country course. So good luck for both of the next phases.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
One of my favourite expressions. It's not over till the fat lady sings or you jump a cross-country course here in the Schlosspark. Louise Reimacher leads the way here, leg 2 of the Event Rider Masters, and we are halfway through the competition. 25.3 Louise's score. So let's take a look at that leaderboard. This is how things stand. Treason in second, equal with Chris Burton and Lawtown Chloe. And a little bit further on down the leaderboard, Janelle Price, Gravine Darev, 33.9. You guys at home with the SAP Spectator judging app actually agreeing with our members of our ground jury, 24.6, currently sitting as your leader at the moment as well. And if you want to get involved with the SAP Spectator judging app, then you can absolutely do so. Download it for free in your app store. If you are just joining us, then those are the 7 combinations that we've had come forward, and we have 8 more still to come this afternoon, and they are 8 of some of the best in the world. We've got the brand new world number 1, Tim Price, coming forward as the first to go after the break. Then we've the likes of Bill Levitt, Shannon Del Titan, and the German big guns Julia Krajewski, Samurai Duto, Ingrid Klimke, and SAP Halebob will be the last combination to go. In the studio with me, List 1 international dressage judge and our resident expert for the weekend, Mark Ruddock.
And we're getting hot. The scores are getting hot. The dressage is getting hot.
Just call me take my jacket off. It's a bit warm. The sun's come out. Mark, top class competition so far.
Yeah, and like Louise, like she said, it was just so rideable. And it's quite nice that she's actually in there amongst the mix. And that was dressage. Like the others did dressage, but she did dressage.
Well, that's the level. Dressage or dressage.
Yeah.
Now, in terms of the leaderboard, we've got actually a very, very close bunch at the top of the leaderboard. We've got the likes of Chris Burton looking for series points, and we've got those big names coming forward. Sam says we're looking for record-breaking territory. Do you still agree?
Completely. Given the judges are in that frame of mind, and this morning's first lot have actually got the marks out of them, and so they're not holding back.
And a real range of marks from our judges.
But they're saying that's where Nick is really good. He goes really low when it's wrong, and he goes really high when it's right. And it is about being brave as a judge, and these have been brave.
He is being brave.
I think there'll be a 10 before the end of the day.
A 10 before the end of the day, you heard it.
There may be 2.
We don't see many 10s in the Event Rider Masters series. I think we've had a sort of 3 or 4, and we get quite excited when they happen. Now, in terms of those combinations coming forward in this second session, who are you most looking forward to seeing?
Don't make me choose. All of them. Absolutely all of them. Every single one of them.
Every single
one of them. Yeah, because I think they've all got a chance. Every single one of them.
And actually, Tim Price, the new world number 1, will be first to go with Wesco on the podium in Jardy last year. You've the likes of Bill Levitt, Shannon Del Titan. They were on the podium in Arville. There is a whole host of names, and of course, 2 former leg winners as combinations. Michael Young, Star Connection, won Jardy 2017, and SAP Hale Bob OLD, and Ingrid Klimke, the defending champions here in Wiesbaden as well. So we've got a top class field, and we will be bringing you all of the action on eventridermasters.tv. But if you haven't done so already, then please do engage with us on social media. Use the hashtag ERM Eventing. Send any questions that you've got in for Mark. We would love to hear from you, and let us know where you are watching from. We're going to have a short break, and we'll be back in a few minutes' time. But Mark, in terms of the sun shining and the weather and everything else, That's really helping conditions.
Well, it does. And actually, to be fair, it was quite blustery this morning. And actually, this is like perfect. This is perfect scoring 10 weather.
Now, we also have the show jumping this afternoon. Is it tough for riders to turn around and go into the show jumping?
No, I would say because they've been warmed up, because they've warmed them up this morning for the dressage, they're really through, really supple. Actually, they should have the best advantage rather than having an overnight in bed, making the horses supple again in the morning. This should be like the best way to get the best round show jumping.
Okay, that's quite interesting.
Yeah, we haven't been to bed, so they've warmed up. Yeah, ready to go. Yeah, that's what my theory would be.
Country, the Schlosspark here, it is really, really twisty. It is really tight. It's flat, but it is literally like a racetrack.
Well, and also how they're not going to go wrong, because there's like bundles of fences, ropes everywhere, and they will feel they're going really fast because of the trees and all actually the whizzing around and the forever turning. It is a bit like going back to Pony Club a little bit, isn't it? It's
back in the day.
It must be one of the smallest areas, I would say.
I must admit, I don't think I've ever seen an event pop up in such a small space.
No, I think Stronsholm's quite similar, isn't it? How that all fits into a very small space.
Where, sorry?
Stragholm. Same. But this is like a pop-up event. Yeah, but... Yeah, so I'd like to know from anybody, is this the biggest, smallest area for a 4-star event?
If you know any events that are smaller than Wiesbaden in terms of the area that they pop up on, then let us know, because the infrastructure here that appears within just a couple of days really is quite remarkable. How much of a difference does it make, Mark, for riders to compete on the perfect conditions of an artificial surface compared to what we saw at Chatsworth, that you have to contend with the weather, which is part of the sport.
It is, but I think the way the sport's moving on and the horses and how competitive it is, I think we're going to soon, grass arenas have to go, because it's not fair, because actually you can draw early on a grass arena and it's fine. 30 horses later, it's a bog. You're not going to do the same test, so it's not a level playing field. This
is a level playing
field. It's too expensive.
Do you think that will happen? Is the cost prohibitive?
I think it has to, because the sport is so expensive. It demands. I mean, they work so hard, these riders, that actually just because you got a bad draw on a boggy field shouldn't come down to whether you win 15 grand.
Shouldn't come down to it,
in my opinion.
Well, we'll watch this space.
That can be
That's going to get the conversation going, isn't it? Let us know what you think as well. But let's take a look at a few of the highlights from this morning's dressage as well. We're going to take a look at the winner here 2 years ago, Sarah Cohen and Treason. And actually, they really did come from behind. I think they were 6th after dressage 2 years ago when they took the win. Can they come up the order here? They've scored 28.3 in the first phase. They are joint second at the moment, and we're going to take in a few moments to look at their test. A horse that is 17 years of age now, by hand in glove, but is absolutely a superstar, a real part of the family. And Sarah keeps him at home. He's the only horse that she has now at this level. I think the only horse that she has at all, apart from maybe a kid's pony at home.
for their lives.
Yes.
So
absolutely.
actually, to keep them just even in rideable, you know, we forget that they're out fit to run however many miles tomorrow and at full speed. That actually to be this rideable. The transition there was very nice, very smooth, very relaxed, which is what you're looking for in the walk. It just is anticipating everything just a little bit ahead of Sarah. Like they knew that half pass was coming and she stopped him, but it's just these half marks get dropped because they're just not completely always on the aids. You see here the canter is just trying to pull down a little bit into the contact, which would indicate a little bit of tension. But the horse has such a beautiful, beautiful paces. It's a shame just that little bit of tightness. You can see it just dropping the marks a touch. They're a big highlight of this horses are the flying changes.
And extended canter, I want to say as well.
We're about to do that shortly. So the flying change was really big and really expressive. I don't understand why it got 6.5, but maybe the judge at E, it wasn't quite straight in front of the judge at E. So
now just talk us through this, because it is extended canter and then is it back to medium canter on the circle?
So it starts medium on the straight, so it starts extended, and then they go to medium because it's deemed actually they can't hold extended canter around a circle, and then they come back there with the transition back to the medium. So they're meant to see two transitions. So to be fair, the circle backs them off anyway, so it shows them the medium. You wouldn't say to a rider to actually deliberately slow down. The circle would make the horse back off to a medium canter.
So you almost stay in your extended and the circle does the work for you.
Yeah, the circle does the work of the engaging. You know, and it's just, all I would say that this horse has slightly anticipated everything. So everything hasn't been quite finished, or he's started a little bit early. That I would say the wise old owl knows the job. But they should just punch out those changes.
So he scored 29.7 at Chatsworth last time out.
Yeah, so I think it was the little bit of the half passes and the couple of anticipation things in the beginning of the trot that just kept the mark speed in the 7s and the 7.5s. You see, like there, how the transition back. They're going to really like that, or they should.
What would you give it?
I would give that a 9 because it was so smooth, so smooth. And it was clear.
0.5, 7.58.
Yeah.
But it does drop her sub 30.
Yeah.
And
a very good halt at the end.
A very good halt to finish. So Sarah Cohen and Treason, who won here 2 years ago, and 8.89 for their final halt. I think she'll be pretty happy with that.
She will be happy, but she will again go away with not what ifs, but just little the details of him just going a little bit before her and just anticipating and not being able to finish things, like definition. And it's the definition that gives you the other half marks. I mean, she'll be really happy, but she still knows she could have got more.
She'll still know.
She'll still know.
And she is a real competitor. She may only have the one horse at this level now, but she really, really wants to win. And I know they had one hell of a party when she took the title here 2 years ago. Well, we'll wait for her score to come in. And 28.3, so she actually goes onto the same score as Chris Burton. Both our first two competitors scoring 28.3. And from a first early indication, Mark, of our judges, do you think we're heading into perfect record-breaking conditions? We are.
We are, because they're giving they've got the 9s out a few times already. Oh, we are. They're in the right frame of mind to do this.
Well, watch this space. We'll be watching it throughout the weekend, but Sarah. Well, some highlights of Sarah Cohen and Treason's test. They are currently sitting in second on the leaderboard, equal with Chris Burton on 28.3. Mark Ruddock in the studio with me, international List 1 dressage judge, who's giving us his expert opinion throughout the weekend. Do you think the judges have been fair with their marking so far?
They've been really, really fair. Like, they've gone high, they've gone low, and you know they are rewarding good work.
How difficult is it? We touched upon judges' controversy a little bit earlier on. Now, we've had a question come in from Brazilian international rider Rui Fonseca, who says last week at an international, there was almost 10% difference, a 7 and a 3 for the same movement.
Yeah.
How do you deal with that sort of thing as a judge?
As a judge, we have to... Sorry, I'm out of my mouth.
Just adjusting.
Just adjusting. So at the end of the day, when there's a 5% difference in the panel, we have to all sit down and the FEI makers write a report. It's not really it's like to see if there was a fault where you can discuss, and you can actually, we all do make mistakes, and actually...
Human judges again.
We are. And actually you can sit with your other fellow judges and say, oh, actually that change was late, but you can be sat slightly in the wrong place. You cannot always see it, and you anticipate it wasn't great, and that's where the 3 and the 7.
Can you change your mark once you've given it?
No.
Okay.
Not if it's gone from you, once it's signed and left the box.
Okay. Well, this is the test of Louise Reimacher, who is our leader at the moment. Waikiki is out in front. 25.3 the score to beat one of 2 Swedish competitors in the field. And I know, Mark, you love this test.
Well, it was just the rideability, and the horse is so gifted in its paces. And yes, obviously it's trained, and obviously Louise has done an amazing job, but she made it look like magic, really.
Made
she
it
thought
look easy,
it,
as
and
we
it
said.
happened.
Well, this man is a firm fan favourite. The horse is a firm fan favourite, and it is the new world number 1. Tim Price, world number 1 for the very first time in his career, comes forward with the Windrush Equestrian Foundation's Wesco. And this is a horse that is so hugely experienced, has won at 5-star level, and was so unlucky to miss out on the Rio Olympic Games with Tim. Had a couple of years on the sidelines, came back last year, actually came to the Event Rider Masters in Jardy, finished 2nd on the podium there, and was 6th at Blair Castle in the series finale as well. So very much a combination to watch. Tim, very much a man in form, Mark. That's a big deal.
It's like in all sports, isn't it? Like success breeds success, and they end up on this roll, and it's like everything they touch. I saw him win last week at Tats.
Now he's actually coming in, I think, on canter.
Now, it is the fashionable thing of dressage riders to do this.
Okay, so he's turned a circle, but he was doing a little bit of counter, which is cantering on the different lead.
Which I think he'll have picked this up from Isabel Vessels, who's the New Zealand team trainer. Mostly you watch Mother Dressage, they all do that, and I think it's to make them supple. I don't know the theory, but I believe in the theory was to make them supple. It didn't help his first halt, though. It was the worst halt we've seen to date. He wasn't really resting the right hind leg. I don't know why the horse couldn't just do that properly, actually. But it doesn't matter, he got an 8 anyway, so, because obviously the judge at sea couldn't see him resting the foreleg. That medium trot could have been ridden more out to the end. By that I mean he sort of slightly pulled up a little bit before F, and that stops it being the 8s. But very good rhythm. The horse looks nice in the hand. And when we're saying about actually it's got engagement and self-carriage and lightness, and lovely crossing in the half passes, and just flowed across. So it should score high. And so now so the disturbance there in the rhythm at the beginning of the extended trot. So the horse was a little bit slow off the accelerator, for want of a better word, so we got that little glitch and that little hitch in the trot. C obviously saw it, and the other 2 slightly didn't. That rein back was a little bit tense and a bit quick, and I think from here it looked a bit crooked as well. So there's just little mistakes just creeping in. So the rein back, the halt was good, but the rein back wasn't so good.
A 9 for the halt though,
yeah.
8.5 and 8.
Which that rein back should have been better. We haven't got the rein back mark, to be fair.
Now this combination, their personal best, in fact Tim's personal best at this level is 25.2, which they scored in Jardy last year. So he's on target to beat that and go into the lead.
Yeah. And and again, this horse is always so rideable. And I would imagine probably was one of the horses goes in the field, it must have one of the most consistent scores, I would say. She's going to look it up.
You know me so well.
But again, like they're very relaxed. Could have a little more over track to get into the 8 mark for that extended walk. But they may go high because of the relaxation. You have to, as a judge, you decide what is the thing you want in that walk. And yes, you want the ground cover, but actually relaxation is the first and foremost thing. There was actually rideability. And it's a good camera angle, this, for the half pass. You can see just how it's on 3 tracks. Right 4 and the right hind and the left 4 on the same line, and the left hind on its own line, so equaling 3 tracks. So all the lateral work, the shoulder and the half passes are all on 3 tracks. And it was very, very well positioned. I thought it would have got higher than that in this for the half pass because it was very nice.
First of the changes coming up.
Very easy, you know, in no doubt. But it wasn't as expressive as Louise's horse. Louise's horse and Sarah's horse really punched the air in there. They were more flamboyant, I suppose is the word. I would imagine it's going to be 7.5s and 7.5s. I doubt.
I think there were a couple of 8s in there.
For the flying change, was there?
Yeah.
Okay. Because it was easy, that's why. But they were,
very
to be
clean and
fair to
correct.
the judges, they went 9s on Sarah and the Louises, didn't they, for their flying changes? So, you know, their keeping it wasn't as good as what we'd seen. But again, just very easily across here. Just bounces across. 3 tracks is clear. Just finishes it. You know, if this keeps up. And again, it's so lovely in the contact and so lovely in the frame. And it is like he can do nothing wrong at the minute. And normally it's like when you're judging, you ride them, you think, which one would I want to ride? And actually, there's been about 4 or 5 who'd want to go. That wasn't such a good change.
Late behind?
Yeah, they'll say croup high.
Okay.
Because his bum went up against the aid, so it lacked engagement. Whatever the reason.
How expensive?
It's 4s. Or maybe they'll give world number 1 about a
4, 5, 7.
7. But let's let the judge. The judge was sat right in front of that change. The judge was sat straight in front of that change, so she wouldn't have seen the hind leg where the other 2 were visible. So that's where that mark comes from. So we're talking about differences in marks.
Well, Tim Price, he is the new world number 1. He's just done his test with Wesco. He's going to be touch and go as to whether to take over the lead from Louise Reimacher. But this, make no mistake, is a combination that will be aiming for the podium this weekend. He's the cool under pressure and a little bit of a slight smile there. Tim knows he's done a very good test with Wesco, but perhaps just ruining that second change mark, which was costly.
Well, I mean, it's old margins, isn't it? You know, and especially on a track, the cross-country track where only Ludwig can able to get the time.
Tim made it last year with
okay.
Second Tinker.
Right,
there you go.
Right, okay, then. But given the margins are so narrow, you know, flying change and get the 4, you get into points of marks.
Well, 25.3. He is equal first with Louise Reimacher and Waikiki. So 25.3 goes into equal first with Louise Reimacher. And 25.3 just misses out on a personal best at the level for both Tim and the horse, because a personal best would be 25.2. You guys at home actually would have judged him as 24.3. If you haven't done already, then download the Spectator judging app. But let's go and get an immediate reaction from the new world number 1.
Just going to get him. Tim, can we just grab you? So he's just getting his, as you all should do, attending to your horse. Tim, well done. You're into joint first place.
Oh, really?
25.3.
Yeah, I mean, he's a stunning horse on the flat. It's good fun. I had 2 little bit from a perfection point of view, a couple of little bits, but it's great fun having him out, and what a great place to have him.
I love the fact that you refer to it as fun. Not many people would call this phase fun, but I love your attitude.
I can't admit to having that attitude on every horse that I take into the arena, but with him it's a little bit different. No, he has so much joy, so I do as well, and you know, he knows now that he doesn't have to do any flat work for a few days as well. He gets to go jumping, so that's good for both of us.
Yay, the fun bit.
Yeah, no, looking forward to that. So here we go.
We are too. Good luck. Thank you so much.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Well, from one firm fan favourite to another, Bill Levitt and Shannondale Titan. This accommodation we've seen more times in the Event Rider Masters series than any other, and it's almost not an Event Rider Masters leg without them, because they have been so competitive. They've been top 10 here in Wiesbaden previously a couple of years ago, and they were on the podium in Arveel last year as well. Shannondale Titan, hugely experienced, and of course Bill has ridden this horse at a World Equestrian Games as well. Knows him inside out, and a horse very capable of putting in a mid-20s dressage.
Really promising start. The judges really like that. So we were on about hind legs earlier. This horse is a real example of a horse that uses its hind legs. See how its hocks make those circles, and it pushes it under its body, and just everything you'd want to see in the power. What we're saying about the engine. Sadly there, just was wobbling. Looked a little bit drunk, to be fair, in that shoulder.
I presume you're not talking about Bill.
No, not Bill. No, the horse. No, just a little bit lack security in the line. So that's why that marked. But very smooth, very easy in the half passes. And you see like how the horse keeps the same 1-2. You can see it in a horse that moves like this. And Bill must love coming to those extended trots because I just thought I'd get more. But maybe the mouth, you can see the mouth into the halt there. It was quite open. The judges don't like that because it proves the horse actually is more on his hand than on the hind leg. But obviously he's so far away from the judge at sea that you couldn't see the mouth. Because our camera is at the A end, so we get to see it differently from the judge at sea. Very smooth, could be more supple. So again, another horse that's just come in here. We were saying about atmosphere, but these horses are so on the aid and nothing's going to bother them because they're so between the rider's hand and leg that actually they're like completely zoned. Been very lucky, all of them. They've all come up with their competitive A game today. Now this is the best walk we've seen so far. If it would stop doing that with its mouth. Because see, it's just a bit fussy. Yeah, but the legs.
What's that an indication of?
A little bit of tension.
7.5
you know,
for the
that's
medium walk.
Yeah. So cheeky little
and 7.5 for the transition into
so
canter.
that walk is capable of a 10.
Well, 7.5 there from Nick Burton for the medium walk and for the transition as well.
So just the tension in the mouth, the mouth is just, I mean, you know, inward tension. You know, the horse can't actually bite their nails, so it has to come out somewhere. But I reckon again this is going to be a. What did you say his personal best was?
Mark, you do like to just throw me the odd hospital pass, don't you?
Yeah.
I'll get that information for you straight away. The joys of Echo Ratings, because it does mean that we can get it for you. So thank you, Echo Ratings, for digging me out of a hole. 24.1 is Bill's personal best at this level. 24.4 is the horse's personal best at the level.
Okay.
And that was actually a few years ago, back in 2015 at Belton.
I'd have thought we won't be far off that, to be fair. I thought the trend's gone. But again, such a super test, really focused. You know, like here, it's just coming across. And he's going to really pick the marks up there. Has such a good canter. And again, this horse looks really rideable. It's allowing Bill to just like adjust the canter, just engage him here, readiness for the flying change. He's doing all his homework on the short side there, on the long side there, for a good change. There was a little bit of a balance issue on the landing.
Well, Bill Levitt and Shenandoah Titan just had their trending score drop slightly, but going for this in the extended canter. Let's hear what the judge has to say here. An 8 from Nick Burton at sea, president of the ground jury, and 8s across the board as well.
Unbalanced and wide behind in the halt. 6.
Fair mark for the final halt?
Totally. Yeah.
Well, that could actually have just cost him the lead, his final halt. Bill Levitt, Shenandoah Titan, but still a very good score. He's looking likely to go second. We'll confirm his score for you in just a second. Actually, it would be equal into third, because equal first at the moment, Tim Price and Wesco, Louise Reimacher and Waikiki, both on a score of 25.3. But Bill Levitt, Shenandoah Titan, there was a lot to like from this test. We'll confirm their score for you in just a second.
come and have a quick chat with us over here. Thank you. Gone into second place.
Okay.
You must be very pleased with that. Anything you could have done differently, do you think, to since that first spot?
No, you just hope for a solid result, and that's as good a score as he's got. We've been around a lot now with him, and we sort of know the right setup. Give him too much, he gets tired. So he needs a good school about 3 hours before his test, and then he only needs about 10 minutes, and you take him in because he knows all the stuff.
And I must apologise. Actually, you got into third place. I do apologise, Bill. Sorry.
That's all right. I'm in the mix.
Still smiling.
Well, as long as you're in the mix, it's all about the show jumping. You got to jump clear there to stay in contention with these guys. And my guy's not the fastest, but he's genuine, and this track will suit him. This is probably out of all the legs, this is the one that suits him the best. So he's feeling well. So just hope for a clear show jumping. I need that really. Definitely in the mix, but as you say, clear show jumping. How are you feeling about that? Well, results-wise. They tell me that he's got a solid record. He's averaging out of about 0.4 per round or something. So he can jump clear. Last year I had a rail here, which was really frustrating. It was cost me dearly, but you go in there always thinking he has a chance. So you definitely have a chance to jump clear, yeah. Fantastic. Well, we'll look forward to seeing how it pans out. Thank you, Bill. Thank you.
Well, he is perfectly capable of jumping a clear round. Averages just 2 penalties in the show jumping from the horse's last 9 runs in the last 12 months as well. So more than capable of scoring a very, very good finish here this weekend. Bill Levitt off in hot pursuit of the competition, and he is such a firm favourite. He's a really, really lovely family man as well. Josh and Ursula, his kids, also ride, and very talented they are too. Wife Jenny at home holds the whole thing together. Well, next to come forward, it is Peder Thompson. And Peder is a double Olympic gold medalist for Germany. Comes forward with Horseware Nobleman, just a 10-year-old. And this the horse, the youngest in the field, only stepped up to the level last year. Horse owned by Peder alongside Christian and Tabitha Glazel. And there will be very few riders in this field that are as experienced as this man. 7 European Championships, 2 team gold medals in Hong Kong and London, individual 6th at the World Equestrian Games in Cannes in 2014, and that's among his 4 appearances at the World Equestrian Games. So he has been a stalwart for German eventing for so many years, and he's been really influential in producing other riders as well. Louise Reimacher, who is actually our joint leader at the moment, was based with Peder for around 5 years, and I know she credits him with a huge amount of her success too. So this a man who certainly knows his way around this arena, and a horse that is a little bit inexperienced at the level, but actually comes here in very good form. 3rd at Babaroko with a 27 in the dressage. Now,
lovely type of horse. And just say, if anybody needs experience, he doesn't, does he? But very good medium trot. Really good in the frame, really good in the rhythm. Looks supple through the short sides, and just keeps the same rhythm into the shoulder in. It's easy. And it's about who can make it look the easiest. So there's some resistance in the contact there. You can see there's a bit of tilting going on. And he lost his quarters a little bit onto the centre line. And these are so competitive today. There's these little glitches. It's not even a glitch, but this is sort of little, just makes the odd half mark. But the horse is probably quite green compared to the others. That extended trot could have been more. It was very similar to the medium trot. And you have that in your mind as a judge. And then again, the transitions mark. So the halt was good. It's probably the best rein back we've seen to start with, but then you see the horse's mouth was opening. But luckily he's quite far away from them, so they probably won't see that so much. It just indicates the horse was too much on the hand. But again, at 10, this horse has still got a lot of maturing to do for this level. And actually you would say that wasn't really half pass. It's more like a leg yield, so it lacked bend.
what's the difference?
Leg yield, the horse travels, it looks away from the direction of travel, and the half pass, it looks to the direction of travel. And see, Nick at C could see that, and that's why he went 5. Because he was like, that is not, I'm sure if we were in there, he'd have said more like a leg yield. So it just actually proves a lack of suppleness. But again, you could think, well, the horse is quite young. Well, it's 10. He should be his prime for suppleness, really. You know, the older boys are doing quite well today. And again, this walk is quite tense. It's still a true walk, but they'll be down to the 6s because it was not actually lacking over track and the frame and the relaxation. They could go even a little less if they wanted. Yes, I'm with Nick. I'm with Nick. And although we say the president of the grand jury, he doesn't have any higher power with his marks. He just actually, if there's a rule, he decides on the rule and the penalty for the rule and things. He's the boss, but his scores don't go any different. So here we just need a little more canter.
More uphill. .5 and 7 for the change.
Agree with Nick's judges
there? Yeah, and like I was saying earlier about going on the shoulder and on the, his saying there about more uphill, same thing, same comment, we just all have different words for, and he meant about the self-carriage, so I completely agree. We all have different sayings.
Bless you.
And we try and 7.5.
So when you're saying about being more uphill, if you took the contact away from the horse and rider, so say the rein broke, what should happen?
The horse should stay completely on its own balance.
Evident.
So that's
5.
You might hear him say more self-carriage, and that would be that you could let go of the rein and the horse would stay there in its own carriage for itself. You know, like here, you could see like there it's losing engagement.
On shoulders.
Yeah.
It's like you and Nick are just the same person, Mark.
Maybe because we're all trained the same.
7 for the... Oh, sorry, that was 6.5 here. Yeah, 6.5 for the serpentine, 7 for the change.
You can see like...
It's a really good example, actually, isn't it, of how quickly those marks can come up. You've got to know that test inside out.
Yeah, and Nick thought he'd made a little... given the wrong mark for the wrong movement, and you're just slightly on it.
7.5.
But I think, like, listening to Nick there, like, we do so much, we do years and years, and every time we upgrade, we do so much training, and so many exams that hopefully we do become one. But we all have our own things we like and don't like. Like, I can't bear horses that aren't supple. Other people don't mind that. So you all have your own pet hates. A bit like types of horses.
And riders. Riders. They prefer certain things. Well, Peder Thompson and Horseware Nobleman are trending 32 at the end of their test. So they'll go inside the top 10 as things stand at the moment, but we'll need to climb a little in the jumping phases. That is just how competitive this field is, because that leaderboard is really getting closely fought together. And Louise Reimacher and Tim Price are joint leaders, 25.3 at the moment. 32.0 into 7th for Peder Thompson and Horseware Nobleman on Peder's Event Rider Masters debut. And I think you guys at home getting involved with the Spectator judging app as well. And don't forget, you can do so. Just download it for free in your app store. And of course, the Echo-Rating Stacks game as well. How high can you build your stack? Make sure you get involved. Build those fan engagement points. There are huge prizes on offer for the person with the most fan engagement points at each leg and for the series as well. Well, Peder Thompson making his Event Rider Masters debut, 32.0, and he goes into 7th.
Peder, congratulations.
Thank you.
Your first ever test here at the Event Rider Master. How do you think that went?
Yeah, it was quite interesting. It's a super atmosphere here. I was a little late. I thought I have 10 minutes more, so it was interesting to see how it is without perfect warming up, but the horse did a very well job, and I'm happy.
That's quite a challenge. So you had to cut your dressage warm-up time by 10 minutes. That can have a big impact, can't it?
Yeah, I think so. I saw it is 12:48, but it was 12:38, so maybe I make a mistake. So I have only 5 minutes. I warmed him up this morning, but I missed a little bit, work. But in the end, I'm really happy. He makes everything nice, and it was okay.
Well done, congratulations. Thank you for talking to us, and good luck.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Well, this is one of the tests we have been waiting for. One of the home favourites, Julia Krajewski and Samurai Duto. Her Rio Olympic Games partner, a horse that's won Le Moulin 5-star, was on the podium here 12 months ago when finishing in 3rd place behind Ingrid Klimke and Oliver Townend. And a lady who is on exceptional form. This horse comes here with 6 wins in a row. If he wins here, he makes it 7, which breaks a record, becomes the longest winning streak in the last 11 years or so, since 2008. Echo Ratings have been crunching those numbers. We'll be watching very closely this weekend. But again, this is a horse that could break the Event Rider Masters dressage record. Can it be done, Mark?
Yeah, look at him going around the edge. Yeah, and that hole.
This is a huge moment in the Event Rider Masters series. Julia has series points on the board from a 4th place finish at Chatsworth with Amanda Benaville.
But I think we're going to get break after. We're going to get 3 records broken this afternoon.
3 records
I'd
broken.
say.
Oh, Mark!
Yeah, just got mad. But very like there. When we were on about the uphill, that was uphill. You could see the pole, the horse reaching. You could get the impression it's going uphill. When Nick was saying about the other horse, it needs to be more uphill. This does not need to be any more uphill. And the blooming scores won't come onto the screen. It's a lovely suppleness, lovely rhythm, and lovely cadence.
8.
Yeah.
Nick Burton agrees with you, Mark. An 8 from the president of our ground jury.
Disturbance.
8. Transitions 8. 7.5 for the hold, nearly square, and then 8 for the rein back.
Well, this is a test that is certainly trending to go into the lead. The judges all agreeing unanimously with that rein back.
8.
I thought it might have peaked a few more bigger than 8s, actually.
She's going to
Fluent,
need some
8.
big marks to come in if she's going to go close to the record now.
But the walk looks good. So, and the walk is double marked.
Okay, so what does that mean? You double...
See, I lie.
Okay.
I lie. It used to be, but it's not anymore. That's fine. But again, here
Could
be more
stretch
relaxed.
more to the contact.
So it's the only way it's shown an intention.
6.5.
Yeah. See, it's a little bit fragile, the walk. Slightly holding his breath.
And 7.5 for the medium walk. 8 for the transition.
And like there, you could hear Nick gave 8. That transition was very smooth. So she positions the horse and just easily flows across. The flow is really easy. And so this shows the example of uphill. The poll is the highest point. His nose is slightly coming in front of the vertical, which it should. So it's all very correct. This has the hallmarks of an amazing flying change. Yeah. Could have been a little more forward. The nose was a little bit short if you're going to go for the 10. But you'll be on the 8 easy. I don't know why they didn't go 9s in that Serpentine, but other than the walk, it's so rideable. That was the only like a moment of holding its breath. Was all the way for the scores to come up. But again, just so easy, fluent, and the transition. There was no problem with the contact. She just said, come back to me. She thinks it, uses her seat. Because I think you'll find on the overall scores, the judge at E will be the lower judge with all of them, but she stays consistent, it's fine. Again, lovely and uphill. The canter wouldn't be quite so good this way. I mean, I'm talking to like, I was 9 on the other end, so I'd be 8. So if they're a little bit lower. And it's the quality of the canter that makes the change. But the change was equally as good. Yeah. So So we're going, she just keeps banging the marks out. And again.
Well, Julia Krajewski, Samurai Duto come up their final centre line. They will be our new leaders. And we will wait for their final few scores to come in. But an excellent final halt. And Mark, you're holding 10 fingers up there. Would you have given a 10?
For that hole, yeah. Yep. I'm waiting. I just thought it was so balanced. It landed square. I mean, Nick will see the straightness.
Well, Samurai Duto, Julia Krajewski will wait for their score to come in, but this was a huge test in leg 2 of the Event Rider Masters series, and we've no doubt that Echo Ratings will be excited about this one.
Yeah, we were Nicole, but it looks like this is going to stand. This was 20.5 from Thomas Carlyle with Up to Long back in 2017. Mark Ruddock said it's about time it's been broken. Not sure if it will be. And what about the V?
With Echo Ratings there, but Julia Krajewski not quite going to challenge the lead. Just you see Christoph Fowler on the right hand side, who was competing alongside her at Chatsworth Event Rider Masters a few weeks ago. Just debriefing. We'll get Julia's score, as I say, in a second, but we're going to get her immediate reaction with Charlotte.
Julia, can we just grab you for a quick word? She's giving her a well-deserved pat. Thank you so much. Yeah. I just listened there for the final score. Have you heard? I'm just waiting to hear the final score, Julia. Julia, you've gone into the lead on 21.0. Fantastic. How does that feel?
Well, very, very good. Well, Sam has somehow managed his way into the really good dressage points. She's, so you can see, rather a pony. And he's more like a show jumper. But now I can enter the ring, and even though he was a bit nervous outside, he comes in and it's like, it feels like a safe place now. He's like, okay, the whiteboards, nothing can happen. So then I can really ride, and I'm just very, very proud that he's so consistent now. And that's quite cool to know that even though he might be a bit nervous or something happens, he's always with me, and that's a really good feeling, yeah.
You've obviously got a great partnership.
Yeah, we know each other for 8 years now. That's a very long relationship. Everybody knows a little bit what the other one likes or don't like, and some things we have to do, like he hates when I wash his head. And even though he's small, he just takes it high enough, I can't reach him. And he knows I can't reach him, because when someone bigger wants to do it, it's no problem.
Well, we hope you have no problems in the show jumping. We're sure you won't. We wish you the best of luck. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you.
He is absolutely a treat of a horse to watch in the show jumping as well. Samurai Duto in the lead, 21.0 with Julia Krajewski. Now, though, it is the sole representative from the United States, Liz Halliday Sharp, Fernhill by Night, owned by Deborah Halliday, and a combination that have been in exceptional form at this level of competition. Won Carolina International over in the States a little bit earlier on this year. Well placed at the fork at Tryon as well, and a horse that really specialises in this short format now. And Liz spends half of the year in the States and then bases herself over in England again in the summer. And a horse that is normally very relaxed, Mark.
Yeah, and it's quite interesting when we're on about rhythm to see how in that medium trot, compared to a few of the others, how the rhythm quickened. So Nick will be saying hurried, and probably like the 6.5s. It was 6.5s, because actually the rhythm quickened. But actually in his normal collected work, the trot is very nice, very easy. You know, some horses just aren't that gifted at doing extended trots. And you just have to sort of think, oh, I'm just going to get a 6.5 and just do with it and make everything else better, make the halts better. You know, don't actually make your horse do something it physically can't do. Work on the other things it can do well, centre lines, and go to detail.
How difficult is it to follow a test such as Julia's?
I think at this level, you are in your own zone, and you have to still go in and do what you can do. You still got to do your best, and you have to park anything else. You are in your, and it is the mental it's the mental wherewithal not to let following a Julia or anybody into an arena, because actually you still have your job to do. And actually your job can be as good as theirs. And if you start to let following people worry you, then actually you've got better things to worry about other than who you follow. You know, and judges, a bit like, I sometimes think I quite like following somebody really good, because they'll be like, oh, it's put them in a good mood.
They've been used to pressing that 9 button.
Yes, they've got, you know, it's made them happy.
And there's been some good marks
This
coming
horse
into
doesn't
Liz.
do anything wrong. It just stays lovely and easy and rideable. And I think the canter is best pace. So you'd be hoping, like here, she'll pick, you know, the marks will come up through the canter, where she'll come to the changes, you know, nice and easy. So really good through the corners. It only looks like rideable that she can make the transitions, really clear transition. They're going to like this. Because she was at the letter, she put a foot on her accelerator, because she's used to driving racing cars.
She is, yeah. Very talented lady,
Yes.
Liz
So
Halliday-Sharp.
she put her foot to the accelerator, then it went well. I think they'll mark that quite high. You know,
7.58.
Yeah.
Would you agree?
No, because I liked her transitions. And yes, they could have gone a bit. I'd go with the 8, but I'm surprised at the 7. Lovely in the frame. A little bit of tilting.
Seven for the Serpentine and 8 for the change. So good change.
It was a very good change. And I think the Serpentine will have been a 7 because of the tilting. A little bit going onto the shoulders to start with.
7.5.
I mean, the judges have had a lovely, lovely day. They've not
Behind
really...
the leg into Holt. 6.5.
So just talk us through that, because to me that looked like quite a square halt.
What it did, the whole stopped a stride before she wanted. It was a little bit abrupt, and you could see it. And from the front, it would have looked like it pitched down onto its shoulders, a bit like an emergency stop. And that's what he knew. It didn't. It stopped one step ahead of her, which is difficult. Horses, we train them through repetition, so it's like up the centre line. It's like we've got to stop some point, and it just dropped off the 8. You know, and Nick was very eagle-eyed.
That's why he's the best. Well, Liz Halliday-Sharp and Fernhill by Night, they'll go inside the top 6. We'll just wait for their score to be confirmed, but should be sub 30. And this is a horse that is more than capable of jumping a clear round in both of the jumping phases. So Liz Halliday-Sharp just going to debrief with her team. Let's go and hear her thoughts.
Liz, can we just grab you for a very quick word? Congratulations, well done. I haven't yet heard the score yet, but how did you feel the test went?
It wasn't our best. He can be desperately lazy, and he was desperately lazy. Tried to grind to a halt down the last centre line with me the whole way, but I thought they were very mean to him in the trot work. I hate having the screen right there because you see it, and I was like, really? I mean, he didn't do anything wrong in the trot work. He's a horse that's in the lead when he's at his flashiest and has his most pep, and I have to work quite hard when he's a bit sleepy, and he was a little bit sleepy today. But I think we've ended up on a 29, which would be quite a poor score for him, if I'm honest, but hopefully he'll still have us in the hunt. So we'll do the best we can.
That's all you can do. We wish you the best of luck for the show jumping. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Liz. 29.2 and into 7th for Liz Halliday-Sharp. A little bit disappointed, it's perhaps fair to say, with Fernhill by Night score, who is so experienced at this level. Blackie, as he's known at home, has 3 combinations left to come forwards. And this is the combination that won in Jardy in 2017. It is the double Olympic champion Michael Young, and he comes forward with Star Connection. Now, this is a horse actually that hasn't competed at this level of competition since that win in Jardy a couple of years ago. So has been off games, missed last season, and has just had a couple of runs at the beginning of this season at a couple of levels below with one of the riders who works for Mickey as well. So coming back out at the level, but hugely experienced as a combination and no better man on board than the former world number one.
Could have been more engaged into his first halt. I think we're going to be able to be so ultra critical of these. Well, we have been. They've all brought amazing tests to us. So Nick won't have seen that because he obviously saw the straightness, but the judge at the sides could see it wasn't as good. Lovely in the rhythm, lovely in the frame. Looks like it wants to go.
Now, actually, when he won in Jardy, he scored 23.8. So more than capable of hitting those low 20s.
And you think I know he's had some time off, but you think he'll be more mileage and rideable in the arena. But I mean, these last three German riders will show everybody how to ride a dressage test, to be fair. You see how that horse comes off the floor in that extended trot, and it wants to go all the way to the end, doesn't ever look, and then it just seamlessly comes back to the collected trot, because there is a mark for the transition back. Now, I would imagine that's going to be big marks. There we go, 8s, yeah. Lovely right back. And then it's a nice transition.
8.
Well, those scores just catching up. Nick Burton, the voice we can hear in the background, just as the president of the ground jury, the judge at sea. He's mic'd up so we can go in and listen to his comments, his marks on each of the horses as they come through. But the score's really coming in now for Mickey.
And I think, as I was saying earlier, you're not getting the best feedback from the judge because the horses are all going so well. He's not making many comments. You learn more from the slightly not so good tests.
And 7.5 for the medium walk.
And we've actually been spoilt because the field here have been really performing in this first phase.
Not quite straight. 7.
Well, if you are just joining us here in Wiesbaden, then a very warm welcome. We're into the latter stages of the dressage. Michael Young, Star Connection in the arena at the moment. And List 1 dressage judge Mark Ruddock in the commentary studio with me.
I need to get the marks higher because I need to break this record now. Come along.
Well, the record you're referring to, that of Thomas Carlyle and Upland. 20.5. Julia Krajewski came close. We've still Andreas Ossolt and the one that could well do it, Ingrid Klimke, SAP Hailbomb.
8, and the change, little more spring, 7.5.
Yeah. So with him saying that, was the canter was a little bit flat, is what it meant by a little bit spring. But I mean, it's still a 7.5. You know, the horse doesn't have the biggest canter. It has a better trot than the canter. Not that we'd not have this horse, but I mean, just as to why it doesn't get probably the 9s that it could.
Little more bend.
Oh.
And spooking. 6.
So he was quite kind, I think. But I think the horse is so in the zone and so focused, all it takes is like a bird or something to suddenly catch their eye line, and that little glitch
and 8
like
for the
that
change.
happens. You know, put us like back in the zone again.
Eight. Straightness in canter. Good halt. 7.5.
Well, Michael Young, Star Connection, finishing their test and saluting to the members of our ground jury. Nick Burton there, president of the ground jury, about to make his final comments. This was still a very good test, make no mistake, and likely to be a personal best at the level for the horse. He is the double Olympic champion for a reason. He is a master of his trade, and actually this is a combination that should be going into second on the leaderboard when that score comes through. What was it about this test, Mark? Because there were a lot of very good marks and just a couple of areas where he lost a few.
It was literally a moment's lapse of concentration. But the class of the horse and the production and how it was presented was stunning. And as I say, the horse gets so in the zone that actually a bird could just move and suddenly it was a glitch. But to break a record, it's like there. I just think the flower must have moved or something.
He did well to keep his correct canter lead.
It was just a glitch. And he did well not to change legs.
22.2. He is second on the leaderboard at the moment. And we're going to go and get the thoughts of the double Olympic champion with Charlotte.
For 1 second, thank you so much. He's just attending to his horse, quite rightly so, before he chats to us. We just make sure we don't get in the way of Andres is about to come in. Mikhail, it was great. Can we just get a confirmation of the score again? It was 22.2 score, so a great score, but there was a momentary lapse of concentration there. What happened?
Where?
This is what we've been hearing. Mark, who's our FEI judge, in the studio, saying there's a momentary point where he thought he lost concentration, but obviously you didn't. That's what he saw, but you didn't feel that.
No, Star Connection is really a beautiful horse. He's a bit spooky. He's also a bit sensitive with other horses. He's a bit shy. So this was a difficult test for him. Quite a big atmosphere. I had him here the first competition, and I'm very happy that he's back, and it's just a beautiful horse. It's so nice to ride him.
It was absolutely a beautiful test.
Of course, yeah. I really enjoyed to ride him also on the warm-up. He's so comfortable to sit and to ride, and he's always concentrate and has nice movements, and yeah, it's really nice to ride him.
Do you think you've done enough? Show jumping next?
Yeah, okay, this is the first competition with him again. He was a little bit injured, so I'm very happy to be here, that he's back. He's sound, he's very strong, he's nice to ride. He's normally a good jumper, a fantastic horse. He won also something in the past. We just enjoy the first competition, and then we will keep going on.
Best of luck for the show jumping. Thank you for talking to us, Mikhail. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Just an expensive spook. 4-star connection, but still good enough to sit in second with Michael Young in the dressage. And this a horse, absolutely make no mistake. Mickey just mentioned the horse has had some time off, had an injury, missed the whole of the 2018 season, but is back. And he's just playing his chances down there in the show jumping slightly, because this horse is a very good jumper, and I know he thinks a huge amount of him. Now, it is a combination who love it here in Wiesbaden. It is Andreas Ossolt with Pennsylvania, the mare, 19 years of age, coming forward in her final ever international run. Delighted to be able to share it with Andreas, who I know is fairly emotional about it. Penny, as she's known at home, just really is one of his favourites. And they've been well placed here in Wiesbaden previously. Were third a couple of years ago, and have been inside the top 10 previously as well.
It's just amazing, isn't it?
Mark, this horse, 19 years of age, looking at her, you wouldn't know it.
But I mean, what credit to everybody involved?
And she's come out this season actually in better form than ever. Was second in Sopot and 7th in Barbaroco at this level of competition. So she is on fire.
She probably doesn't want to retire. Or she had babies.
I
Really
imagine
good start.
she would make very, very lovely babies for future Andreas Ossolt horses, I'm sure.
So they're very willing and good ground cover, but a little bit lacking the self-carriage. You see, as she went quick, she went a little bit onto his hand and lost the uphill frame. But Nick liked the ground cover and stuff, but it's actually couldn't go any higher. So you can just see she's a little bit fussy in her mouth, and you can see her tongue just slightly popping out. So that E-judge, she'd have stuck her tongue out, that E-judge, who will have been offended by that, I should say. Just a little bit. It shows tension when they get in the mouths and the tongue. But I mean, for a 19-year-old horse to have that much movement still is unbelievable. Again, good transitions, really willing, soft to the hand. She corrected herself. She obviously remembered. Into the halt. So good out.
7.
Nick Burton, president of our ground jury, mic'd up so we can hear his thoughts. 7 for the rein back.
7.
What do you say? Why? So Nick won't say anything till the end of the line because
a long movement.
A long movement. So he'll be contemplating. There's a little brain rest.
7.5.
So the line's coming. So the mark finishes at
And
P.
7.5 for the medium walk as well. And 8 into canter. Obedient is the comment.
He's very precise and clear, isn't he?
He's a very precise and clear person. He's very
He
measured.
needs
Very
better
cool.
collection and contact.
And you need to be cool as a judge.
6.5.
So it's just been like quite
Unsteady
faultless.
contact.
Yeah. Just
6.5 and 7 for the change.
just a little bit unsteady in the contact. You see just a little nod going on, which indicates she's not actually active enough behind.
Is that why she's not getting the bigger marks?
Yeah, because just dropping like half a mark on every single movement, because she's wanting to be a little bit on his hand.
But this is still a very, very good
We still are on
trending score.
26.
Yeah, we're getting very picky here, Mark, aren't we?
That's what I mean, and that's why I was saying it's actually probably your mic wasn't really needed today because there's actually not a lot to be
balance.
said. But being able to, it's actually we've been able to like critique why not 8s, not 9s. Normally we're like
5.
We're like, oh, that was good, well done, you've got 6.
The standard here in Wiesbaden
Losing
really is
balance.
quite extraordinary.
I'd say we're spoilt.
We really do have some of the best in the world.
6.5 for the serpentine and 7.5 for the change.
But you see, she's just getting her head's getting fussier. She's just getting a little fussier in her head throughout, which could be just like flies and. She's doing everything, but actually this head is sort of dropping the marks. She looks irritated.
She's looking to get on to the jumping phases.
Yes.
She knows what's coming. She absolutely does. And a lovely salute to members of our ground jury. Just see Nick Burton, president of the ground jury, stood up as a mark of respect to salute back to Andreas. And a very good trending score still, 27.5. That's going to have him inside the top 10. And he should go into around 6th place with that very good score. He looks pretty happy with that.
Well, he's probably just thought that's the last time I ever do a test on you. But I'm sure when you speak to him, it was really good.
Just going to get hold of Andreas here. Andreas, please come and join us. Big smile on your face.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Got into 6th place. Obviously delighted.
Yeah, I'm really happy. I enjoyed my last ride on her. So, trot was really nice. Walk I enjoyed. In the canter she was a little bit on. So I was not too active in the canter. So I lost a few points, but in the end, overall, lovely test.
It's a big day for you. I mean, you are smiling, but it's your last ever test. How does that feel?
Yeah, it's weird. It's weird. But for the moment, I just enjoy it, that we had again so much fun. So I think that comes later.
I'm loving you having fun in the dressage. Looking forward to the show jumping?
Yeah, so she's a good jumper. So for sure, I want to be clear and in time.
Don't we all? We hope you do. Best of luck. Thank you so much.
He is a really lovely man, Andreas Ossolt, and Pennsylvania. But that lady in the background is the defending champion, Ingrid Klimke, and SAP Halebob OLD won here 12 months ago. Ingrid has won in the Schloss Park here 4 times in total, equal with Michael Young, who's also won 4 times too. Can she make it 5? Can she top the podium here in 2019? The horse has been in very good form. Ingrid, we know, is a true competitor. And Mark, there's that moment, isn't there? There's that tension in the air, because this is one of the combinations who are the best in the world.
But like the people that are the best in the world feed off that tension. They want that tension, and it just makes them even better. Yes, we're all anticipating.
We're all holding our breath. Bobby, as he's known at home, individual bronze medal at the World Equestrian Games. Germany secured Tokyo qualification. Just rising trot down there. We haven't seen many doing rising trot on the outside of the arena.
It's quite a dressage thing, to be fair. If you feel the horses are a little bit tight, then you would do rising just to get off their backs before the bell goes and just get them sort of relaxed. That'll be more of a dressage thing coming out there. I think event riders are like, once they're sitting, I'm sitting. She's getting a nice few laps around the arena.
Now, we mentioned it a little bit earlier on, Mark, that Ingrid is riding her pure dressage horses here as well. Grand Prix level. You said she's on the B squad for the German team, which is a really competitive team in itself.
Yeah.
How much does that help her in eventing?
Well, I think it's more that it's the amount of tests she rides. Not that she comes to this with any less focus or anything, but just that everything, she's so used to actually dealing with things and feeling the minute detail that you need as a Grand Prix rider, that she can bring that forward. So, an amazing halt to start with. So I would say she said to them, right,
I mean business.
I'm here, thank you very much. There you go. Yeah.
8?
Yeah, well, she might not be quite a... So the E being the 8, she might not have been quite a X. You know, that's why that judge, you can't always see.
And we're going to keep the voice of Nick Burton, president of the ground jury, in during Ingrid's test, so we get those scores in straight away for her.
Fluent, 8. Really good transition in there. Really powerful. 8.5. Transitions, 9.
Now, her best ever test.
10 for the hold.
There we go.
Oh, 10.
I said 10 as well.
There you go, Mark.
And 9 for the rein back. Eight.
It's like Nick and I are twins.
It's like you're telepathically the same person as Nick Burton. But Ingrid Klimke is raking in those big marks. And this score at the moment, it is worth mentioning, 18.2 is her personal best on the horse at this level. And it happened in this very arena in Wiesbaden when they won in 2016.
And this walk is very good as well. You see the relaxation and the ground cover.
Nice purpose.
He's repeating me. I'll be on for the 9.
8.
And he's going to get 9 for the medium walks.
8 for the medium walk. 9 for the transition.
It's just the fluency of everything. Good positioning.
8.
So there could be a little bit more uphill, but probably 7, 5, 8.
First of the changes coming up.
8 and 8
Flat
for the
change,
change.
6.
Just sort of happened.
Wasn't really on the aid.
8, 7, 8. And now this score is looking ever more impressive.
I would say this will be the best. That was the best transitions.
8.
Best transitions in the mediums. It was clear she went medium and extended. That would be the best half pass we've seen all day because it was so supple.
Fluent. 8. Eight for the serpentine, 9 for the change. And
That
just
was the much best change.
Yeah, very good expression.
I think he's listening to me.
Oh, Nick Persson, president of our ground jury, certainly happy to give the big marks. And this is an enormous test from Ingrid Klimke with SAP Hailbob OLD.
I would like to say, Sam Watson, I told you so.
8.
Well, we are on target here for a brand new Event Rider Masters dressage record. The question is, how low can she go? It is going to be a personal best for Ingrid Klimke with this horse at the level. It is going to be an Event Rider Masters dressage record. And Mark, we've witnessed a little bit of history here. Another 10 for the final halt.
Oh, Sam Watson. Oh, Sam Watson. I was so right. There.
Absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
What was it about that test that just set it apart?
It was because she's getting into complete, I've gone about detail. Her detail, like to every transition, she finished everything like to the, like a knife going through butter in the transitions, and the fluency and the harmony and the power, but controlled power. And it just looked, and it was like it was a robot.
Well, Ingrid's score, we're going to get that confirmed for you, but she is going to be in the lead. She is probably going to have a fence in the show jumping in hand as well. With the quality of the field here, that is quite remarkable. 16.4. It is a new Event Rider Masters dressage record. It's a personal best for Ingrid at the level. It's a personal best for Hailbob at the level. And every inch the superstar. Ingrid Klimke, the one to beat here, the defending champion here in Wiesbaden, is as cool and as calm as you like. But Charlotte, we've just witnessed something pretty special here in Wiesbaden.
We have 16.4. I don't know if Ingrid knows this yet. I'll tell her. Giving Bobby a good pat. Ingrid. Oh, defending Wiesbaden champion. You just set a new Event Rider Master record. Are you where? 16.4.
Oh, wow, that's my personal best too. Oh, he was so good. I mean, he was coming in there like, here I am. I know my test in and out, so just enjoy it. And I was like, and there he was, finished.
You do make it look pretty easy, but I don't think it's that easy, is it really?
If you have him, I have him now for 10 years, so we are so close. I know him in and out, and yesterday he was a little bit spooky and wild and pretending that maybe tomorrow he can explode. But I came out here and he was like, okay, I know it's dressage day. I will be very calm. I will do everything for you. So he's so sweet.
Now, defending Wiesbaden champion, you've also won here 4 times. If you win again, that's a Wiesbaden record.
So I will go for it. You know me, I'm really ambitious. So I know he's a fast horse and I love to do a jump off. And always it feels a little bit like a jump off in the park. So today have a good show jumping and then tomorrow we'll go for it.
We can't wait to see you go for it, Ingrid. Always love watching you. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
I will bring it on.
She really is an absolute superstar. We have witnessed something really quite remarkable. Mark Ruddock in the studio with me. We're just going to look a few of the highlights of that because 16.4 is a massive score.
But it started from there, like that halt. And as she said herself, she just like went, but she didn't. She just cruised from one movement to another. The focus and this is true harmony and partnership. And I know people say dressage is boring, but this isn't boring. It's like, does make the hair stand on the back of your neck. The detail and the finesse. And she's doing what dressage is. It's meant to look beautiful. And it did look beautiful and easy. And a harmony and a partnership. It was like... And that's how it should be a record, because you don't see it very often.
It was an absolutely beautiful test. And like you say, just giving you a few goosebumps as well, because that was remarkable. We don't see tests like that very often. 16.4. I mean, a personal best for Ingrid, a personal best for the horse, and an Event Rider Masters dressage record. We've been talking about it for a little while. 20.5 was the previous best. And we've seen history here in Wiesbaden. The Echo Ratings team will be absolutely over the moon with this one.
Yeah, incredible stuff, Nicole. This dressage record of 20.5 of Thomas Carlyle, she's not just broken it, 16.4. She's got 4 penalties in hand over this. It's an incredible record. Her previous best here, 22.2 in the ERM section at Wiesbaden. Absolutely smashed that as well. And look, we said it was about these two in our last slide, but that is such a cushion now for Ingrid Klimke. Really, really special stuff from her. And it's a German-looking leaderboard. They're dominating on home soil. Wow is all we can say.
Well, let's take a look at that leaderboard after the first phase. There is that record-breaking test. It is German domination at the top of the leaderboard. Ingrid Klimke, SAP Hailbob, 16.4. They have a fence in hand over Samurai Duto, Julia Krawski in second. Michael Young, who is a former Event Rider Masters winner with this horse, completing the top 3. But some very good tests from the likes of Louise Reimacher, Tim Price, Bill Levitt, well in the hunt as well. And of course, some good series points on offer for Chris Burton. Ludwig Svenestall and Stinger, they were winners here in the other section last year, and they are looking to finish on that dressage score of 30.1. But you guys at home have been getting involved with the SAP Spectator Judging app, and you can just see the quality of the field we have got. It has been a remarkable morning of dressage, and there's one man that we've been listening in with, and he is with Charlotte.
A remarkable morning. I am here with Nick Burton, newly appointed Tokyo Olympic judge, no less. Nick, what a morning.
Yes, it really has been quite an incredible standard in the CRM class. I mean, impressive, and we were able to go up to 10, which was brilliant.
Any surprises?
Well, we don't really have expectations as judges. We just judge what's in front of us, so I can't really admit to having any surprises, no.
Can you admit to having a favourite, Nick? Go on.
We just don't have favourites. We're not allowed to have favourites at all. We just judge what we see and award the marks accordingly. So, yeah, we even if we did have a secret one, I couldn't tell you.
He's not going to tell us. So, Ingrid, obviously, an outstanding test, 16.4, which is an ERM record. What was it about Ingrid's test that really set her so far above everyone else?
Well, there were many qualities in all of the top horses that you can see on the leaderboard, but hers was absolutely without mistakes. She was very brave in the extensions, but she measured everything she did, so there was never a break in pace or a loss of balance, and so it gave us the confidence to give her the highest points, because why not?
It's interesting you use the word bravery, not a word I've ever heard with dressage before. We think bravery cross country, we think of accuracy and elegance, and why did she express or need bravery?
Well, to ride a test like that and to ride tests that are going to win medals in Olympic Games, you have to actually be brave in the dressage phase as well. It's not just about looking harmonious, it's about really showing the difference within the horse's paces, showing the horse's scope, the ability to lengthen and shorten, bend, and of course walk in a relaxed way as well, stand still in the halts. All of these requirements are very, very difficult to do on a fit event horse.
And you talked about it gave you confidence as judge. Again, it's an interesting sort of concept. So her performance gave you the confidence to give the really high marks.
Yes, it makes you feel like, well, how could I want that to look better? And if you can't find an answer within a split second, you give 10.
Must feel good to give a 10.
It feels really good. I'd like to give more. Maybe I will one day.
Maybe we will one day, but thank you so much for your time. It's been absolutely fascinating. We've loved the morning and we've loved your comments. Thank you.
Great, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Well, he really is the best in the business. Nick Burton talking there to Charlotte, and fascinating to hear from his point of view as well. We hope you've enjoyed all of the dressage action. Mark Reddock in the studio with me. It's interesting, isn't it? He loves giving a 10.
I know. We do. We do love giving a 10. And it's like he says, you see, I can be a commentator and have favourites, but as a judge you can't. But I'm allowed to do commentary and be favourites. You know, and you love giving 10s. They're exciting. And I think he summed up exactly what I was saying.
So in terms of what we've seen this afternoon, we've said we've seen something special.
But we've seen a special class, to be fair.
I think that's a very good point. Yeah. The standard, the conditions, everything about it was really so competitive. First
10 have got over 70%. I mean, and it was just one after the other. Nobody blew, nobody had a big mistake, no one. So, yeah. Perfect.
Going forward to this afternoon show jumping, Ingrid now has a pole in hand, which at this level is actually very rare.
Yeah, totally.
Is she going to need it?
No, she might actually go for a time fault to make sure she gets a clear round, I'd say.
Interesting. She was very confident when she was talking to Charlotte earlier. She was saying she was going to go for it on the cross country as well.
But I reckon she can risk a time fault show jumping for a clear round.
Who else stood out for you as to watch for the rest of the competition?
Oh, the great...
Louise Reimacher, Waikiki.
Louise. Yeah, Louise.
A highlight.
Just a highlight. Yeah, Louise, because I just love that horse. Actually, don't make me choose. Don't make me choose.
Don't make you choose. We have enjoyed such an incredible day of action here in Wiesbaden. We hope you've enjoyed all of the dressage, because we will be back very, very shortly with the show jumping this afternoon. Tomorrow it will be all of the cross country over Rüdiger Schwarz's cross country track, and it twists and winds in the Schloss Park. But do stay tuned, because we're having a short break and we'll be back at 16:45 for the show jumping. Do join us, because we've seen history this morning and the rest of the competition promises the same.